What's up, Javier? Who shared, I saw it earlier, who shared the pumpkin porn in Discord? Oh, he's bug dude. I used to do that. Not like professionally or anything, but like at a farm that my uncle owned. When you're born into a fire, I guess it was like child labor, I guess. Sell them to the richest buyer. They want to let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, we kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big. Unpaid child labor. The brains are bigger than the favorite. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than a Trump loves inflation. I saw that. That was pretty amazing. Run away, we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Bug dude, you shared pumpkin porn, and I was telling people before you came in here, I used to have to do that. Forced pollination. It didn't feel weird because I was a kid, but now it's kind of like, hey, that's kind of rapey. I just wanted to prove that I could go live 2 days in a row and I still have internet connection, my internet bill's paid, my house payments made, I have a place to live and an office, and unlike some people, I won't name any names. It does feel dirty now. We would take these giant looking sterile cotton swabs and find the males, find the females. The females open at like certain time of the day, and like rub them down. Then you take like this netting and tie them. I didn't watch your video, but I saw what it was. And then you take this netting and tie it around it. I guess that's what they're doing. The same thing, same shit. It's like, it's not just for, like, I don't know if regular people do it just for pumpkins, but like just regular pumpkins that you would sell for Halloween, I guess. I don't know. Or that time of year. But these were like pumpkins that they were trying to like make giant pumpkins. Like pumpkins you would see at like a fair and shit, where like the biggest pumpkin wins or whatever. Or strangest or weirdest features. Like, it wasn't just about being the biggest. They made some fucking crazy looking pumpkins, different colors and designs on them and shapes and I don't know, shit like that. But still, let me see if I can start Facebook here. There it is. Change accounts. What I want to know is how you got suggested. How does your algorithm send you down pumpkin porn? That's what I want to know, to be honest with you. All right, I should be good.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Are you fucking telling me that Phil and Brad have been having people invest in this fucking jiggle token for over a fucking year and the app's still not out? I thought they were selling these tokens to use them on the app. Right, that was the whole premise, is like you buy these, you have to burn these tokens to make these little videos that make you like sing or whatever. It's like an AI, and that's how you pay for it. And that was the utility of the tokens. The app doesn't exist. Hold on. I just saw this because I still had Brad's shit open from last night. Even in this, the guy's like, no, this isn't the finished it. Just watch.
How you guys doing?
Doing great, man.
Doing great? All right.
Yeah, I feel like
the smiles.
I feel like I'm in the presence of a rock star.
Oh, come on.
Finally get to meet you. Yeah,
Come on.
in the flesh.
Well, happy to have you guys in. Happy to have you guys in. So you've seen maybe a lot of videos about the app, about me just going at it and just talking about stuff in all the videos and presentations and all that stuff. Well, today, I believe we're going to be able to show you the actual app, right? Yes.
The finished product?
Not the finished product. We are...
The finished product? You're going to show us the finished? Nope, not the finished product. By the way, they said they feel like he's a rock star because this is, it seems like a lot of tech startups get like a well-spoken British guy to talk about their app for some reason.
Tightening things up, we're brushing up some corners.
More trustworthy, maybe.
Closest to the finished product as anyone else
I'm excited.
has ever seen it. So
This is the guy that's always in all the advertisements, but I thought the app was live. I thought it had been live the whole time.
show this to you, okay? And so I'll be inviting you on over to take you through it. You're going to have the app on the screen here, so feel free, right? I'm looking forward to hearing
They
your
think it's Lenny Kravitz.
impressions about it. Cool? Let's do it. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, instead of learning English, I was busy developing and creating Jiggle. Today, we're finally ready and excited to show.
Oh, God, we're going back to the goddamn AI voice notes and just a bunch of smiles.
Our almost final version of the mobile
Almost final version of that. The app still hasn't launched. They still don't have a final version of the app.
app. At the end of this month, it will be released in the App Store. I suggest we quickly go through our main screens from a design
How many millions of dollars have been spent on tokens and the app? What the fuck are the tokens for?
perspective, and then, so to speak, discuss our main creation, which ties this whole mobile app together. I would probably compare it to a delicious dish where there are different ingredients,
Why do they have 3 Cokes on every table?
where we've taken the best elements from various social networks. But like any dish, it becomes tastier when all the ingredients interact properly with each other. Let's start with our main 360 feed. We have our main primary 360 feed, which has a zoom function. We can also click on any post and dive into it in a more familiar format, like it's done, for example, on Instagram or TikTok.
That was like a like.
I don't like that. That's too many. There's too many things on the screen, right? So you're supposed to look at all these. Say there's 30 of them on your screen. You zoom into the one you want to play and then click on it. I think TikTok has kind of figured out the keeping people hooked on scrolling. Because even when I'm done scrolling on TikTok, I'm like, one more video. And then if it's something interesting, right, if the algorithm hits right, then I'm like, watch that video, then I watch another one, then I watch another one.
Our main primary 360 feed, which has a zoom function. We can also click on any post and dive into it in a more familiar format, like it's done, for example, on Instagram or TikTok.
That was like a like, where he's doing a jiggle.
Yes.
It's kind of like I don't use Instagram that much. I don't take a whole lot of pictures, but it's kind of like when you go to Instagram and you hit, what is it, the search function, and it brings up 12 videos. Oh my God. They all look like porn. They all always look like porn. But anyways, it brings up like, what is that, 12 videos for you to search from. I was going to show you my phone, but it all looks like porn. All the thumbnails are very sexually suggestive. This kind of doesn't look like porn. So it looks like this, right? Instagram has 12 videos up at a time. I don't like that. I just want the video on the screen, and then you just scroll for another one.
Cool.
Many things here are familiar, but they've also been adapted to our style with some unique features.
Was that a lock? Is that a lock? That's a jiggle, bro. That's a cool. Brad says cool. I know what locks are.
Feed, which has a zoom function. We can also click on any post and dive into it in a more familiar format, like it's done, for example, on Instagram or TikTok.
That was like a like, where he's doing a jiggle.
Yes.
Cool.
Many things here are familiar, but they've also been adapted to our style
Brad's such a fucking
with
boomer.
some unique features of their own.
Yeah, but you say save, share, comment.
Yeah, it's like just like Instagram, TikTok. You know, it's familiar to people.
Yes, it's a familiar format. In addition to having the usual TikTok style feed, we also have the 360, which adds a certain unique twist.
Oh yeah, there's nothing like that out there.
But because we have, after all, this is a mobile application, in this feed we have the ability to instantly share either our own or an added generated track. Usually on any music platforms like TikTok or Instagram, this kind of feature doesn't exist. So in this feed we see absolutely everything from videos and photos to content and also audio, which we can immediately add to our own collection.
So all of it's mixed and matched on the main interface right here.
Again, as an example, with Instagram, if you like some reel and it had
Has anybody in the real world, detached from Phil or Brad, I said this last night, and this project or my show, has anybody in the real world heard anything, any hype, good, bad, indifferent about the Jiggle app? People talking about, I can't wait till Jiggle launches.
an interesting track in it, you have to go to another platform and type in the name of the track. Here you don't need to do any of that because the track is right here for you as a separate audio. You can immediately add it to your music and listen to it anytime you want. After all, we are a social network with a musical focus, so I suggest we dive further into the music features. Here you can also see things you're already familiar with, like how it's done with playlists in Yandex Music and so on. But there are some unique features.
Yandex Music, because they're all fucking Russian.
There are the usual charts, new tracks, and music selections. But here's something you almost never encounter. These are specialized playlists that will naturally show up in your app over a period of time, depending largely on how much you engage and interact with the AI assistant. We'll come back to it a bit later, but this is a very important point because after each listening session, the assistant, which operates quietly in the background, carefully analyzes your musical preferences and not only recommends the next tracks, but also creates personalized and highly specific playlists for moods like sadness, or for when you're out on the road. In other words, these are highly thematic, precisely curated tracks that it selects based on your listening history.
One thing I noticed here is these the raw beats. I got some buddies that love to freestyle and stuff, and they always have to go to YouTube, and it takes a while to find the right beat and everything. So it's pretty cool how AI can know what you like through the song.
This guy has a bunch of friends that freestyle rap. This guy right here made a bunch of friends at his private school that his parents put him through that like to freestyle rap, and it's hard for them to find beats on YouTube.
The raw beats. I got some buddies that love to
Carefully analyzes your musical preferences and not only recommends the next tracks, but also creates personalized and highly specific playlists for moods like sadness, or for when you're out on the road. In other words, these are highly thematic, precisely curated tracks that it selects.
He's like, raw beats. I don't think you mean the vegetable, right? You're talking about my rapping friends?
Based on your listening history.
One thing I noticed here is these the raw beats. I got some buddies that love to freestyle and stuff, and they always have to go to YouTube, and it takes a while to find the right beat and everything. So it's pretty cool how
That's going to connect with Brad's audience.
AI can, know what you like through the songs you listen to and get the beats you want,
It's just a picture of Dwight Schrute holding up beats.
and then they can freestyle and have fun with it and stuff. So
We can now transition away from the topic of music. After all, this is a social network, and the social network is primarily about communication. So I suggest we move on to the chats. As we all know, most of us use Telegram. There are some comparable design elements here, but they are combined with our own unique accent features, which we have integrated and distributed across all sections of the app.
By the way, this isn't a functioning app. This is a video. Like, no one's using a giant touchscreen Android device to scroll through this.
We can, for example, open a chat with Ilya. Just about everyone is already quite familiar with standard voice messages, quick file sharing, and fun stickers. Essentially, everything you would expect to find in top social networks is seamlessly integrated right here. Furthermore, there are also dynamic group chats where you can easily add any of your existing friends or even meet completely new people. It's a fully functional messenger that's genuinely convenient for communication, where you can have work conversations, chat with friends, and make audio calls. You can share everything we love in familiar social networks. These were, so to speak, the three main pillars that everything is built on, but all of this is united by our core value. So you might be wondering, why should people use this app at all? It's because of our smart,
They shouldn't.
which is conveniently located at the bottom of any interface, no matter where you happen to be in the app. You can call it up from anywhere, and it will immediately open up for you. There are two
Yeah, every fucking phone has an AI assistant built in. You don't have to open any app.
distinct and easy ways you can interact with it. The first is text-based, if you're in a noisy place or on the go. The second option is, if you hold down the button, you can speak either by voice or by text. Here you can create what various services offer today, all in one place. AI services, but here everything is combined in a single location. You can create tracks, make videos, images, and instantly publish all of it as a post automatically. To post something on Instagram or TikTok, you need to go to Free Peak,
Dude, this is gonna flop so fucking hard.
to some social networks, then edit everything in Final Cut. In general, interacting with other platforms causes discomfort, but here everything is within a single platform.
Yeah, it's like an all-in-one stop shop. Do it all.
This allows the user not to switch between different apps. It's a comprehensive all-in-one product in which you don't need to go anywhere else. Everything you need for communication, creation, creativity, and viewing is all inside one app. Also, simply creating content is unlikely to surprise anyone anymore. There's a very smart feature built in here, a content analyzer for what you publish. For example, if your photo is of too low quality and doesn't look very good, the assistant will automatically suggest improving it for you. It will suggest enhancements to the image, and if there are mistakes in the text or the post you want to write, it will suggest ways to modify it. And the assistant doesn't just
It's got spell check.
help you.
Holy shit.
It can also initiate communication with you itself through notifications, using the button at the bottom and proactively suggest things for you to do.
I hope it does like Grok and makes it easy to make fucking child corn. You know, that's a major selling feature for Grok.
This is extremely helpful for new users who have just registered on the social network and don't yet know all the features. But the assistant will help. It will highlight certain features and guide you, saying something like, "Hi there, you haven't created any tracks with us yet. Click on me and let's create your first track together." Your first track.
Yeah.
This makes the assistant feel more like a friend to you, rather than just an executor who simply carries out your commands. He will help you if you don't have any ideas, if you don't know what to post, which track might go viral right now, or what's currently trending. This is your assistant, your helper, who will help you figure things out, both in the social network as a whole and in creating content that's much better than everyone else's. We can even try to generate something, upload your photo from yesterday's podcast, which, in my opinion, turned out to be very heartfelt and cozy. Let's ask to change the background in this image, even though it was, of course, very beautiful. Another very important thing about this assistant is that we have a very advanced and, so to speak, the various modules operating quietly under the hood. There are two distinct and versatile options designed for different types of users. This approach allows the entire experience to feel both familiar and comfortable, catering to experienced, advanced users who often require more complex content, as well as to individuals who prefer not to get too deep into the details and simply want to achieve quick results. It will also immediately offer to post this to It can immediately suggest posting it to your profile as a post, adding it, generating a track for it, writing a post, and publishing it right away. This is specifically for the purpose of effectively promoting that post. In other words,
wow.
it ensures that you are never left working in total silence, as it always suggests something helpful.
Offering options to you?
And all of this can be
that
done
you?
literally in just a few simple clicks
Wow.
on your part. There is absolutely no need to create complex things like heat maps or anything else like that here. In short, it is designed to be very simple and intuitive for any user. Another important thing I would really like to talk about now is the way the entire monetization system actually works. In traditional social networks, or if you just want to generate some content, you're always presented with a limited selection of 3 or 4 packages, which usually require significant financial investment, and not all of those features are genuinely essential for you. With us, it's more, yes. Let's say it's more user-friendly because some people like to take photos, generate and create images, while others prefer to create videos or images. And you can fully customize it for yourself depending on what interests you more. You're not a hostage to those packages. It all fully supports and integrates with Apple Pay, as well as a wide variety of other payment methods, and all of this functionality is absolutely available right now.
To do 37 photos, 17 audios, and 35 videos, it costs $122.50. And that's with a heavy discount because you're getting so many.
Maybe for some of you, it is actually more convenient to use this from a desktop computer, let's say speaking in general terms. This is our pre-final version, but like any other social network, it will go through many development cycles, iterations, and even more iterations. We will keep adding even more new features and new capabilities because there's still so much that can be added here.
It's impressive.
Well, to wrap everything up and reach a final conclusion, I'll say that this product wasn't designed and created just to fulfill a requirement or tick a box, but truly as something we ourselves would want to use every single day. To create content here ourselves, to use it, to communicate.
And somehow when they purchase whatever the fuck that is, like when they purchase these packages, that also burns tokens.
I am sure that very soon I will communicate.
Like, this app 1 billion% would have functioned without crypto. What is the crypto angle? Other than, you know, sending your money to Russia, super illegal right now. Like, was the crypto just fundraising to build this? None of this needs crypto. Right? I've got several pro versions. I use AI a lot for different things. Basically, AI psychosis. It's convinced me that I'm invincible and I will soon be president of Armenia. Anyways, I pay for those pro accounts and I use those pro accounts often. I don't get locked out. I don't get timed out. I don't get, hey, you've used too many of this, blah, blah, blah for the day. Wait 24 hours. But I pay for what I need it for. I don't want to go to TikTok and they tell me I have to invest in a token to see more videos.
Communications, corporate dialogues, and so on will move to Jiggle. We look forward to seeing you as users of this social network.
In fact, I can't think of any, I guess X maybe, Twitter. I can't think of any pay-to-play social media platform that's actually done well. I understand you can promote on TikTok and you can get verified on Twitter and on Facebook if you pay. But I can't think of, like, even LinkedIn is not doing good. And that's for people to get jobs. You know, you can usually convince somebody to pay some money if they think it'll help them get a job.
Use every single day. To create content here ourselves, to use it, to communicate. I am sure that very soon our communications, corporate dialogues, and so on will move to Jiggle. We look forward to seeing you as users of this social network by the end of this month.
There you go.
That's awesome. Great job. Good job, buddy.
All of that to tell us they've been investing for a year in this crypto, and the app is still not live. Like, the app still doesn't exist in a consumer format. Yeah, they've got a video of something running that kind of looks like their app. No videos were played, no audio was played, no messages were sent. It was a video of an app that they claim is close to the final format. I don't know, that's wild, dude. I was scrolling through TikTok earlier, and this guy, I feel really bad for him, okay? But it was just so funny the way he laid it out that it was pictures, right? And it was a picture of him, and he looked like he was pissed off, and it said, "My girlfriend cheated on me, ... And you scroll to the next one, and it's like him holding his phone, he looks mad, and he was sent a video of his girlfriend cheating on him. He's like a high school student, maybe like a senior. Then there's another picture of him like in his truck driving, and he drove to the place where his girlfriend was at with another guy cheating on him, showed up to fight him, got his ass beat, said he got his shit rocked, got up off the ground, got in his truck, left, flipped his fucking truck, and was too mad and too proud to call for help, so he just walked the fuck home. That sounds like something I would do, to be honest with you. Just walk home. And people in the comments are like, maybe just give it up for the day, you know? Maybe this is rock bottom, you know? Maybe it all gets better from here. I don't know. Made me laugh. That'd be a rough day, dude. Shut it down. That's right. Then, I was looking for some motivational videos of people who really seize the moment, right? I was thinking about sending some of these to Bort. People who, like, don't hesitate. They jump in. They're not afraid to get their hands dirty, and they just seize the moments. That's what Bort needs in his life. And then I found this wonderful lady who is not afraid to seize the moment. She knows what it's all about and what it takes to succeed.
No, Carlo. Shit. No. Wait. No, Carlo. Wait. No, Carlo, wait.
No.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
I don't even like touching it through the bag, dude, while it's still warm, while it's still body temperature.
Holy shit.
This bitch is like, I'll be your ice cream cone. Dude, you can replace carpet. You can clean it, especially if it hasn't been there, like it's not like ground in and shit. Right? Like just let the dog shit on the carpet. Yell at it or whatever you do for shitting on the carpet. It seems like it's your fault, honestly. It was trying to go downstairs. Then pick it up immediately and then just shampoo that area. Would you guys let a dog shit in your hand?
Oh my god. Holy shit. Holy shit. Motherfucker.
It just says, I panicked.
No, Carlo. Shit. No.
Gun pointed at my head. I don't think I would panic this much.
Wait. No, Carlo. Wait.
Like gun to my head, knife on my throat. And I still think I'd be like, nah, just let the dog shit in the floor.
No, Carlo, wait. Oh my god. Holy shit.
It does seem like her fault, right? She had the phone out, and the dog clearly went downstairs to like go out. Came back upstairs, ran back downstairs again, came back upstairs. This bitch is still at the top of the stairs recording. Like it knew it needed to go out.
Holy shit, motherfucker. No, Carlo. Shit. No. Wait. No, Carlo.
I think of you.
I'm picking up a long stay shelter dog.
Oh, this is all her content, I guess. Somehow I'm hooked on her content.
We have some very exciting.
Is there other videos? I'm not a fan, okay? I might have gotten rid of the dog before I would catch shit in my hand.
Pouring the concrete patio.
These guys struggle so much. I love this channel. All right, they're out here. They're working hard. They're trying to make it. They're doing more than Bort does. But, man, they struggle so hard. Sometimes they do really good projects. Other times I'm thinking, what the fuck are they doing, dude? Who the fuck would give these guys a job?
Taped off.
Okay, put it right on top on the edge. And you're supposed to use that red.
The guy talking's the owner, and then this kind of chubby guy, his name's Jude. He reminds me of, what's that actor from 22 Jump Street that was fat, and then skinny, and then fat again?
Rubber-looking duct tape stuff.
And double checking measurements.
So I went 4.5, and then I went 4.5.
Putting some more rebar in and cleaning off one of my tools that Jude didn't last time.
Shit.
Then a big lunch before we pour.
Oh, I can't play the music. Sorry, guys. Copyright.
Which didn't sit too well. Then we went to pick up Enrique for extra help. Did a better taping job and prepped out the stamps.
Have you guys, talking about puking, have you guys seen the girl who is like the world's pickiest eater? Jonah Hill, thank you. I wanted to say Channing Tatum, but that's the other one, right? I'm not good with celebrity names. I'm very, very bad. There is like this girl who basically doesn't eat anything but like one thing, like chicken nuggets or something. And it's like, it's like a texture issue, right? She, I don't know if she's autistic or not, or has like Asperger's, high functioning, whatever. It's like a texture thing, and her boyfriend tries to get her to try new foods.
Doesn't matter.
It's an incredible series.
We're right fit over there now. You need stretches, Enrique?
The plan was to have the chute all the way up to the patio, but he said even with 3 yards, he would still crack the driveway.
They got the crack, right? Don't they?
Enrique dumped over a wheelbarrow.
You go way too fast for this leg.
That sucks.
You gotta follow me, right?
There you go. They don't have grade pins in or what?
And no, a pump is not.
If you can do good concrete work and get insurance, there's a lot of money that you can make. It's hard work. It's not easy, but there's a lot of money to make in concrete.
More efficient than wheelbarrow.
It's just not something the average homeowner's like, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like concrete is pretty specialized.
In this scenario. I poured this at a 6-inch slump because the sun
I hope they got pitch
was
on it.
directly on it and I didn't want to be rushed.
That's wet still, man. What are you talking about? I was freaking out for nothing. Way good.
Picture framing it. Ooh, I don't know that I like that.
It's hella uneven.
I guess because it comes to that point and they didn't want it to crack at that point. So if you don't know, these joints in concrete, so expansion joints, whatever the fuck you want to call them, they're just a line that's either put in while it's still kind of wet, or you can come back and cut them with a saw later once it's cured or green or whatever. Concrete is going to crack no matter what you do. The goal is to make it crack in these cracks that you already cut. So if you didn't have this in here, it would just crack randomly. It might spider web. It might crack in a unpleasant way. So you intentionally weaken the concrete in these sections, and you want the cracks to happen in that. So if you come back to a concrete job 5 years later, in the bottom of these sections should be cracks. It's going to crack. There is no, well, maybe it won't crack. It's going to crack. All concrete cracks.
Dad couldn't believe that I could get on it already.
Just doing that.
I'm going to show you that woman eating. I think she was eating Spam in the latest video. Oh, they got stamps.
Stamping.
This smells so good.
Retarder and stamps.
Mm-hmm. You eat? Lay it down. No, you feel this one. You write that to me?
It kind of swirls.
Or does it? Damn. Don't go.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Michaela Robertson.
You make a corner, please?
Sure.
I do like the look of stamped concrete. There's a social media account called Victory Concrete Services, which kind of has some drama right now. Oh my god damn. It's got a bunch of drama going on around the brother of the guy who owns it. They used to be in business together, and I guess one brother stole from the other brother to start Victory Concrete, but they do a really good job of stamping, and they make pretty decent content on TikTok. Church has got some bitch tits. By the way, Church was processed. I don't know that. I guess you would technically call it an arrest, but he was there for like 15 minutes. He's being charged with assault on that young kid that he beat the shit out of.
And we used our floppy mat against the foundation and touched up some of the lines with these rollers.
Extra
For
rollers.
only 3.5 yards, this kicked my
How
ass.
you doing, Dad? I'm done. I'm tired. My pussy hurts.
Yeah, there's another company that's like up in Wisconsin maybe, but they do super intricate designs, like these mountain peaks that are like snow covered and the mountains are great. Maybe they're out in Colorado. Yeah, they are somewhere near the Rockies. That's right. They do like Rocky Mountain patterns and animals and all kinds of stamp shit. It looks really good.
I'm ready for one more slab to do.
Oh, I didn't know you did concrete.
We can probably fit.
If I'm saying something wrong, just tell people I'm a fucking idiot.
Tonight, do anything? Dad, your bottle.
I haven't done nearly as much concrete as probably you have.
We still have all this shit to clean up.
Today we're pouring the...
It's a cool channel. It's Pro CIW. I don't know. I enjoy watching it. Sometimes they struggle so bad. There was one where like they were doing concrete, the asphalt. Oh my god, they tried to do asphalt. Asphalt was bad, dude. Like they put it in a dump trailer. They didn't know how much they needed. It was setting up. They didn't have a torch. Like the asphalt videos were so fucking bad. Let me see if I can find one of them. Like one of the first asphalt videos they did, and they're, oh god. Is this one of them?
I've never
You don't become successful by adding more. You become successful by letting go of the things that are keeping you average.
Determined to get something, not get it.
I've never seen somebody who is determined
I guess no one told them that if they spray everything with diesel fuel, the asphalt doesn't stick.
in their heart to get something done.
Asphalt's horrible. My dad talked me out of it because he worked for, in my area, there's a big construction company named Summers and Taylors, and they do a lot of the road construction around here. And that's where my dad worked. He was a dump truck driver, then he went to the shop. He ended up becoming a dump truck foreman over all the trucks. And I had an interview with a company out of Chattanooga that was on the road, and it was basically like a working mechanic. Like when anything was broken or down, you were a mechanic, and we weren't. You were on the crew paving, and it just sounded so miserable. Talking about 110 on the fucking interstate, and you're paving 50 miles of fucking I-40 or some shit, cars. It just seems horrible.
The universe and God is so giving and providing.
I wanted the voiceover one.
It's gonna be wet, I swear.
Yeah, so today we're finally patching all these asphalt sections that have been sitting like this for about 3 weeks. We've been waiting on the rain to subside so we could get this patched. Started with getting tack oil applied on all the edges.
That's to promote adhesion between the old and the new stuff.
Reverse right to the middle.
Jude hauled ass back from Eugene because this stuff dries up pretty quick. Well, the outside does. It just makes it hard to work with, but...
Bro, you gotta have a torch, bro.
It's also super heavy and the trailer wouldn't even dump it.
Too heavy.
Oh my God. Look, it's already, like, they shouldn't be working with it at this temperature. They gotta have a torch or something. Like, how are you supposed to patch that hole with this?
Break these up and put them on the bottom.
Yeah, break those up, put them on. Look at this.
Difficult because we had to break through all that crust to get to the soft material inside.
You gotta move somehow.
Now they're blocking traffic.
Completely out into the road. Realized we would need Nate and Enrique's help, and they need to get off lunch and come help us.
Because it's like dry.
No, wait, call Enrique. He has to take the truck. Because we don't have any more shovels.
Oh, yeah.
They only brought 2 shovels. Oh, this is bad.
Once Enrique got here, it started moving a lot faster.
Once the Mexicans showed up, they're like, hell yeah.
And if you're wondering, yes, we are new to this. That's why
I can tell.
Work.
Oh my God.
Rated out a little bit more, and then it was time to start up the compactor.
And they ordered so much extra, and it just sets up almost like concrete. Like, what the fuck do you do with that? You gotta have a torch, bro. I think they got better at it. I think I've seen a video of them doing better. It's so bad.
Holy shit. That's hot. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Dude, that shit is difficult.
I mean, I guess the good thing is people in this neighborhood will appreciate, even if it looks like shit, they'll appreciate it more than a hole.
It's hot, and it resists you shoveling it and moving it a lot.
Yeah, so they run cold mix. Where I live, if it's going to be down below like 50 or something like that, they do cold patch, which does not stay. It sucks. And there's even stricter rules around the interstate. Like the state of Tennessee restricts the temperature they can pave at because it won't stick good enough. And they're going to waste money and potentially have a lawsuit, someone wreck or whatever.
This was Jude's solution to not walk on the fresh asphalt. First patch done, just have to sweep up the excess.
That shit's fuck you hot. Oh, yeah.
This other patch is much smaller, but we're still going in with the tack oil around the sides to start off.
Please tell me that they didn't try to do this all in one load, and that's going to be a hot, fresh load of asphalt instead of the shit that was already fucking crusted.
Off and make sure it's a good bond.
Nope, same asphalt.
A bit more difficult to work with as it was cooling down.
Bro, they don't have a torch at all.
Back in the middle, and it was super hot.
It just smoked.
Jude also got yelled at the asphalt plant for not having a high-vis vest.
She came out yelling at me as I just went down the road and pulled over on the belt line.
I appreciate it. The hustle, the drive, trying to make something, make a name, build a business. You got to do a little bit more research about how this works. Like, spray all your tools down in diesel fuel. Have a fucking torch, right? Keep that shit fucking hot. Order exactly the right amount plus 10% or something.
Got a couple more scoops in here, Enrique. Yeah.
No, let's hope no one fucking drives over it.
Oh, shit.
Or no one's dog goes through it.
Hey, let's compact it, Jude.
All right.
For the honors. Now, what to do with all the extra?
I think it's wild that our interstate system is nationalized and has national standards and national upkeep, and there's rules about how you have to keep this open and that, and you know, at what level it's got to be maintained. But our fucking power grid isn't, dude. Not to mention all the weird shady stuff about how power companies legally can't lose money and subsidize through and through, and plus you pay on top of that for it. It's just crazy.
As he's running the compactor, I like to work out any rough spots that the compactor makes, keep it all smooth and uniform.
They don't have any water. They don't have a torch, so nothing.
We got some of my fucking hair.
Chunks. See you guys next time.
It's gonna be wet, I swear.
Crazy, dude. Anyways, hopefully they're doing better now. Let's see if they did another asphalt job. I think I watched a video and they did better asphalt. Is this asphalt? No. That's gravel. That's asphalt. Let's see.
I made a big
oh no. Oh no.
on this asphalt
That looked like fiber or something.
patch, and we had to start by recutting the edges because they're so damn thin they're literally crumbling if they were even driving over them, even though I made a gravel ramp. So we fixed that, cut them, trimmed off the edges, scrubbed off the sides, regraded, compacted, and we're ready to go. And then add our tack oil. Give myself a little stretch for the hell I'm about to endure. I brought on a special guy today who does asphalt, my buddy Nate. Started by getting everything
Thank God.
and then heat it up and start getting it up.
Oh, they did lube it up. They used diesel fuel and they got a torch. Okay.
Do you guys have more today? I had a feeling we might run short. At first it was really slow, and I had to re-lube everything a couple times. And then fire broke out.
Well, that's the diesel fuel part of it.
It is heavy for the trailer. Here's a cute little asphalt edit I made.
So it seems like they are doing better, right?
And Jude ruined it.
Thanks, ice.
I can't believe that guy's in a hoodie every time I see him working.
You say ice?
Yeah.
Stepped into my true form, overseeing.
It's okay to have those edges straight like that, my table crumble. Yeah. How you feeling, Enrique? It's not too hard. How you feeling, Nate? It's warm.
They gotta get a dump trailer that'll dump that shit.
How you feeling, Jude? You got the easy job. I got your hoodie.
Yeah.
There's me.
Yeah.
Edges nice and crisp.
Doesn't matter. Oh, be careful, dude. Yeah, I don't want you to fall back and whack your head.
God damn.
Onto the second trailer that we didn't even actually need.
Thought we needed more. Holy shit.
This one had cooled
Bro, what are you gonna do with all that?
down substantially.
What's coming off?
And this
Oh, he's out of the hoodie.
Out of nowhere, and I realized what happened. I was fucked. So I had a panic attack. We had to dig up all the freshly graded asphalt because my dumb ass decided the wire wasn't important and went over it. But we got it fixed. I had wrongfully assumed that it was a dead wire because we talked to all the neighbors and none of them lost anything.
Oh my God. They cut a wire while excavating and they just went door to door and they're like, hey, is any of your stuff off? No? Oh, we must be good.
Fixed, and it came out great.
They are improving. That's true.
I made a big
Thank God.
Today we're
Let's see one of their recent videos. Then we'll move on to the eating or whatever. I just saw one where they were cleaning a chimney. It seems like they'll take any fucking job, bro. Any job, anytime, anywhere.
Well, Jude is finally back after being gone for 3 days. And we have one more side to finish on my house, and we're prepping for paint.
This is a personal project.
Told you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. 6 more.
What do you think, Jude? You ready to set 500 posts?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. It seems like my wall cavity's drying out well. I found some shit that was like anti-mold, blah, 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 sprayed it on. I'll probably still go in with bleach water. I had an idea. I don't know why they don't do this. I want to spitball an idea with you guys in a minute. I will draw it out, and you guys tell me the flaws in this idea.
And we ran into this cute fella on our way to me and Jude's job.
Shit.
For this morning's job, we'll be washing about 4 roofs. A garage, a shop, a house, and a pergola. I got this brand new
rainbow root.
Of course, we're setting it up to the truck battery.
Come on.
Yeah. Looks like they're just doing random projects at his house today. Washing his roof.
You're getting me.
Oh, shit.
Can't win.
Go harder.
and our pump was running pretty shitty.
I don't even know where they're
Yes, it's
located
the same
at.
one. People have told me the correct one to buy. I'm just waiting until I can get
He calls himself a landscaping business. They do a lot more than landscaping. Like I said, they were cleaning chimneys.
set up when I have the space. So we had to finish with buckets. This is some bullshit.
I could grab the
Vinegar works too, especially if you get like the cleaning vinegar. I think it's like 20 or 30% vinegar. I like bleach water, but
Over the shit.
Dude, what do you want the pump? That's still a good pump.
Nope.
But he said he could do it himself. Good job, Jude. But we were determined, and we only had a few roofs left. Then we went to eat the pizza that I called in over an hour ago. Once the boys got the rest of those fence posts pulled out, they started working on this rock job.
Sorry, Enrique.
And it was time for me and Jude to go out to the fence job again and build this gate. Also, my brand new Milwaukee chainsaw quit on me. A quick bathroom break in the woods.
Get down here, buddy.
there you go. They're improving. I don't want to spitball an idea by you guys. I thought of this because my shower leaks. It's in timeout currently. You guys tell me the problems with my ideas, okay? Because I'm sure there are some that I'm just not thinking about. It's going to be kind of hard to follow along, so I'm going to draw it. Yes, we're going to learn something. No, I'm not a good teacher, so we'll see what happens. Okay. The fuck? Okay, there it is. All right, here we go. So, how can I draw this? Okay, like this. And this. This is a wall. Okay, 2x4s. Everybody follow? That's a wall. Now, from this wall, let's say you have a shower pan or whatever, bathtub, it doesn't matter, and a drain. Now, typically, your plumbing, let's do, your plumbing comes up in the center of this, right? Plumbing, blue goes there. Oh. Red here. And then there's some type of mixing valve here. And we'll use purple. So the mixed water comes from there. Goes out to a shower head. Oop. Bear with me. I'm trying to just move one. Oh, God. Why can't I do it? What is going on? Fuck it. That comes out to a shower neck, a shower head, okay? Now, on this side of the wall, on the back side of the wall, you either have sheetrock or something back here. Boom, right? On this side of the wall, you usually have some type of either a shower enclosure or mortar board for tile or whatever. And, of course, there's a wall here, too. There's walls all the way on three sides of this. Not all the way around, but on three sides of it. Now, this is called, or this is a wet cavity, okay? Between these, there's a board on top here, too. Between these two studs, where my blue, red, or whatever, is called a wet cavity, okay? It has water in it. If you have a bathtub, same thing. It's just this mixing valve where the selector comes out and there's a bathtub spigot down here. Now, we're all worried about waterproofing all of this. It gets waterproofed between the walls. Like, there'll be a sheet of something here that waterproofs where just your shower head and your valve come through. Why don't we? Okay, here's the idea. If we're going to do all this, why don't we make something out of plastic or something that's waterproof? A sled that goes in here behind all this plumbing and is capped at the top. Like it comes over and touches the shower board. It goes down behind all this, right? You seal it to these two pipes where they just barely come out of the ground, right? So on this backside where the drywall would be. And then down at the bottom where your shower pan hooks out, there's like 2 or 3 weep holes, and it's all slanted to drain back into this cavity. That way, if this ever leaks, this pipe ever breaks, the valve ever starts leaking, the pipe breaks down here, anywhere short of like just this much. So all you would need, all you would need is like 2 or 3 inches where it first comes through, right? That wouldn't be protected, and you'd have to seal around that. But at like the top, you would go above all that shit. Let's see if I can find a good picture of what I'm talking about. Straight on. Like this. All right, so behind this, so what would be facing you right here? There'd be a knob here, a knob here. They got 2 knobs on this one, probably for an overhead shower or something. 2 knobs on this one, and tile or something. Why wouldn't, behind that, while you're putting in a new shower, why wouldn't you have a plastic, basically a box that just goes in that cavity? You can cut it, right? It'd be easy enough to cut with some snips if you need to get around. You know, like, say this brace right here stuck out too far, come this way, you just cut it around it and you come back and seal with silicone. But like a box that goes all the way down, that goes over this, above the shower head, where the shower head comes out right here, it would be at least a few inches above it. And it comes all the way up to whatever you're putting your tile on or whatever. It has like just a foam seal, okay? Something with pressure on it, silicone, whatever. It goes down behind all the plumbing, and down at the bottom, there's 2 water lines that come in, and you just cut for them and seal around them. And then built into the shower pan, or even if you have a fiberglass shower pan, wherever this plastic comes down, it's sloped, wherever it meets your shower wall, shower pan, whatever, when you put up, you measure and know where it's at. And then when you put up your, whether it be a shower stall or whether it be tile or those shower boards or whatever, you just drill 3 small holes that are like weep holes that would let it drain out if there's ever a leak. It would still come into the pan and drain in. I understand that one of the issues is going to be like, some plumbing's going to be crazy, right? Like this. Like if you're in an old home that's already plumbed, like maybe your plumbing comes in way over here and it goes through 3 walls and blah, blah. I'm not talking about, it's not going to fit every circumstance. But usually when you're putting in a shower, you'll bring the plumbing right to one wall. The easiest way to do it is bring it right to one wall cavity, which is usually 16 to 24 inches on center between 2 studs, right? You could even make the thing where it slid and would adjust a little bit. It comes down. You bring it right up there. You have this, basically, I'm almost imagining like a kid's sled. Okay? Like, the way it's shaped, let's do a new one. So at the very top, it could be basically straight, right? And it would go back to the wall and go back to the wall. Then it would come down like this. Imagine this line being straight. Sorry, I'm not a good drawer. And then down at the bottom, it would curve out like this, and it meets the wall like that. And all this has a lip, obviously. Like a wall that comes out as thick as the studs. Same thing on this side. Comes out. No lip right here because this is where we're going to drain it from. And basically, you would have like a hole here that you would have to seal. A hole here you would have to seal. Okay? And that's where our red pipe comes in on the left. Blue pipe comes in on the right. Seal those up with silicone or whatever, right? they mix together. You can have a shower or a bath spigot and a shower head all contained. Then, when we take a sheet of something, so that's just in one wall cavity right there. Then you cover this, right? So you got a sheet of whatever your covering is, fiberglass or tile. All this would be covered, and you would have all your tiles, right, set up, whatever. All you would see is your knob for your temperature, right? And your pipe for your shower head, plus shower head. You wouldn't see any of that behind it. It would all be covered in tile as they come across here and did the tile. And you'd have a couple little holes at the very bottom of this that would allow it to go back into the pan and into the drain. Am I just, here's a question. Am I overthinking it? Would it be like, yeah, that's a good idea, but leaks behind the wall like that are super fucking rare, so it wouldn't be worth the investment maybe? The way I'm looking at it is like it's my house. I plan on living there and paying it off. Like I plan on living there for a fucking while. I don't want to do this again. Maybe I never have a leak again, but damn, it sounds like good insurance. If I do have a leak, if it freezes right there, if it busts, if fucking the shower cartridge starts leaking or an O-ring goes bad or, I don't know, the kids are swinging from the fucking shower head one day. One of the things you would have to worry about is a lot of times in here, like where the shower hooks up, it's like a little brass fitting. They put like a 2x4 in here for that to mount to, so it's not like loose. And there'll be a 2x4 right here for this mixing valve to mount to in your wall cavity. But again, those are areas that you cut around, or you put this in place, right? Put it in place and then cut your 2x4 to sit on the inside of it if you're doing like a remodel. I'm not saying everybody should rip open their wall and put this in, but if you're adding a bathroom or doing a bathroom remodel, wouldn't it be worth the extra cost to be like, look, it doesn't matter. If that pipe breaks tomorrow in half, all the water is not going in your wall. It's going in this valve. Yeah, I thought about that too, but I'm thinking if we put enough slope on it and it's going to be something like plastic, right? It's not going to grow mold, not going to hold water. If you put enough slope on it at the very bottom, that if any water ever to get in, or even it has little hoods, you know what I mean? Like at the bottom of it to where, you know, it can't splash in from the top. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but this is what I was thinking about yesterday. Because the first thing that got me thinking is there's all kinds of products. I forget what the red kind's called. Red Guard. There's all kinds of products to make stuff waterproof. Red Guard's one of them. So basically, you do all your stuff and then you paint it with this stuff, which is like a roll-on, almost like a membrane. It's like rubberized membrane type stuff. Red Guard is like a waterproofer. And I thought, well, a man could waterproof that cavity, right? You could paint it all with this shit. And yeah, it might get wet, but at least it wouldn't soak in. But then you have the problem of, well, if you paint the whole area between the studs, there's nowhere for it to drain. So if you did waterproof it, it could potentially just be filling up with what? Let's say it was 100% waterproof, which Red Guard isn't. It's made for like stuff to splash on it, not to be like underwater. But eventually, it would, if you had a pipe break, it would fill up with water, and then where's that water going to go? Up through your fucking roof or somewhere? I don't know. It's just going to keep piling up. So then I thought about basically a kid's sled. Like a sled is like 4.5 or 3.5 inches deep, comes down, drains out the bottom. I don't know. Again, maybe I'm just way overthinking it, and it's never going to happen again. But I feel like, where have I seen that before? Let's see. like this. Sure Seal. This is a seal, a window seal that you put in that basically comes in just a couple sizes, because the way it overlaps itself, if you have a 28-inch window or you have a 36-inch window, it just slides out. You could basically do the same thing. You could have this piece that goes in your wall cavity. It'd be two pieces, right? And they slide into each other. In fact, Sure Seal is so good that let's say you buy a piece and the smallest it'll go down to is 30 inches and you need a piece that's 28, you can just cut off some in the middle and it'll go to 28 and it'll slide together more, right? Like it could lock in to where it can expand to whatever size you have between your studs. You could technically also just put something around like where the shower head's at and the mixing valve. Honestly, it could be as simple as if you had access to the back of it, if you just wanted to a little bit of, I guess, safety or to not worry about it, you could honestly just take like some plastic sheeting and fucking wrap it all around it and staple it and bring it all the way down to the bottom to where it can drain out and drill a tiny little hole at the bottom. Like it just has to be something that's waterproof and can also drain down. I was trying to think of like a product that people would actually install though. Like not like a ghetto solution to fucking just throw this on there, throw that on there, whatever. Like I was trying to think about like, okay, this is easy. It pops in, it does this. It takes the guesswork out of there ever being a leak here. Because we lived in our house for a month and literally, I don't think Mariah sent me a picture of it. She might have. Let me see. If I wouldn't have noticed it, it would still be fucked. Because Mariah noticed something and I just wrote it off as like, oh, they did kind of a shitty job caulking that. She did not send me a picture of it that I see. So basically the only way I noticed this is I had a wall. Sorry, hold on. Oh my God, now you're going to freeze up. Give me just a second. I'm an idiot and opened the wrong app and froze the computer. Don't save. Don't save. File new. I'll show you a picture of my bathroom sometime, but basically right now, the way my bathroom's set up is like, this is our shower. So there's a wall here. And then this of course is a wall that goes all the full length. And then this is a shared back wall. And there's a toilet right here. Guess I put a tank on it. There's a toilet right here, but there's a wall. This is a wall in between the shower and the toilet. So I'm lucky that I can get to the back, like access this. But one day, we have like the wall. So this is the wall, shower on the right, toilet on the left, and it goes like this, right? And it's got this piece of 5-inch trim baseboard that goes across a 6-inch baseboard. It goes across the bottom, and basically it just started to pull away a little bit at the top. So Mariah said, "What is this?" And I was like, "It looks like they just used shitty caulk because it wasn't like bowed or like like you'd catch your fucking foot on it or something. It was at the very top. So the profile of this, the profile of my baseboard, it comes up like this. I think it dips in. Then it has like a big like this. Then another little bump. And then it goes back to the wall like that. Basically just this very top portion on in the middle, which is where the shower, like right here, which is where like the shower, the leak was. In the middle, it just barely pulled away from the wall, just enough to crack the caulking. And Mariah's like, what's going on there? And I was like, it just looks like, you know, the caulking, they use shitty caulking or something, right? It isn't stuck anymore. It's breaking down, even though it's brand new. Maybe they used like the cheapest shit they had or expired shit or something, didn't get a good seal. And I was like, don't worry about it. And then the next day I saw it dripping out of that fucking weep hole that I showed in the TikTok video. I don't know if you guys saw or I put it on YouTube too. There's like a weep hole on the bottom of that. Hold on. I want to look up this word. I know this word, but I don't know how to pronounce it.
Escutcheon.
Escutcheon. Escutcheon. That is the beauty ring that goes around like plumbing pipes and parts and valves and handles or whatever. Here's a good picture of one. See how it sets down in the bottom of your cabinet? And usually you have to cut a hole bigger than the pipe. So this makes it look like the hole isn't there, basically. Escutcheon. I saw my shower handle. Nope, that's not right. ESCUTCHEON, I think. This beauty ring, escutcheon, around it. Oh, you can kind of see it in this one. See how there's like a gap right there? That's if water ever gets behind it. I saw it leaking out of that. I know I'm still bitching about the same leak. I can't help it. My life's not that interesting. I just made my first house payment and the shit's leaking. So this right here is supposed to be there for two reasons. One, it's a weep hole, right? It's a weep hole that if water ever gets behind here, which it shouldn't be, it's allowed to drain out. And two, usually you can get some type of, like if this is all siliconed on and tightened up and you remove the screws, it's still not coming loose, you can get something in there to work it to start bringing it loose. Like I silicone mine in. But you never want to silicone this hole because later you can't get a tool in there. And two, if it leaks, you wouldn't know, right? It's not coming out from there. It's coming out from somewhere else. So there you go. I'm still bitching about the fucking leak. That's how you know it's still bothering me. Anyways, that's my idea. Some people put up like plastic. So if you have insulation in one of the walls, like it's an exterior wall or whatever, you need plastic sheeting in case water ever gets behind there because it just ruins insulation. There's not a good way to dry it out. Ends up molding. It loses its R value. But typically on like these interior walls where a lot of times you want your plumbing, there is no thing to put there to stop that from happening. I was trying to come up with an invention. Maybe I'm overthinking it and people will be like, God damn, how often do you get a leak, in your wall? Well, not very often. But if I had this, then I'd never have to worry about getting a leak. You know what I mean? Whatever. Trump loves inflation.
I will. Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a...
No, I love it. The numbers were great. You know what I really love? I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran, until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships late at night with no lights because they don't have any radar because we blasted the crap out of it.
Does he mean like we're stealing it or we're like blowing it, like taking it out, like destroying it?
We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look. Remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be we hit the best economy we've ever hit. And I said to my people, I had Scott, I had Howard, I had Pete, I had all of them. I had Todd in the room. I said, the one thing we have to do now, we had just hit the highest stock market in history, highest 401ks in history. Everything was going well. And I said, I hate to do this to you guys, but Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon very soon. We have to go and attack. So we hit them with the B-2 bombers, which took a lot of courage. It was totally successful. We buried it, very hard to get. But now we have...
That's right, mud paws.
And I said, you know, the
it'd be different if I had a landlord and I'm like, hey, your shit's leaking, you know, come fix it whenever.
Part is the stock market.
But I'm terrified of like a fucking mold issue.
Down by a lot based on predictions of experts, like 25%. And it was worth it. To me, it was worth it not to have a nuclear weapon. And
so apparently Secretary Wright testified in front of Congress today, and he was played this. We've been taking the oil from Iran clip, and he said he didn't know anything about it.
The other thing is that oil would go to $250 a barrel. It's at 85, and which is pretty amazing.
And we're burning through all the strategic reserves. War's kicking back off.
We just hit today another stock market high. 74 in my short time here. 74 days we hit stock market all-time historical highs. Nobody can believe it. The Dow, the S&P. S&P was at 7,000.
By the way, it's over 90. I don't know where he's getting this $80 price or whatever.
Said in 4 years, maybe 5 years. It will never hit it during the term. It was too much. I hit it in my first year. I hit on the Dow, it was 50,000 was an impossible number. They said 5, 6 years out, you'd hit. Well, I hit it in my first year. And now I get everyone in the room and say, congratulations, but now I'm going to take it down a little bit because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And they all agreed with me, Todd, you remember. Everybody agreed. And we took a little journey down to Iran. We first stopped off at Venezuela, by the way. And we have paid for that war many, many times over. And we have great relationships with the people of Venezuela. We get along with them great. It was a great success. It was a one-day war. It was really, to be exact, 48 minutes.
I heard his testimony was good, but...
And it was over. And Venezuela's doing great. Relationships with the people are great. It's become a happy country, believe it or not. I mean, it's become a happy country. And we're taking out millions of barrels of oil from Venezuela. And then we went to Iran. And essentially we've done the same thing. It doesn't look as pretty, but there's no Navy. 159 ships at the bottom of the sea. There's no Air Force. All of their planes are blown up. Most of their drones are gone. Most of their drone-making ability is gone. Most of their missiles are gone. All of their leadership is gone, so they replaced it. All of that leadership is gone, so they replaced it. And that's the people we're dealing with now. And I think they're going to want to make a deal, but we're going to find out.
I don't want to watch 3 hours. I was looking for more of like a highlight reel.
An opening statement. Thank you for
joining. Yeah, he just wanders around his story. He calls it the weave. It's more like
your 2027 budget request.
The dementia dodge.
To have the Secretary of Energy, Secretary Wright, with us this morning as we examine the department's priorities, ongoing reforms, and vision for America's energy future. Over the past year, the Department of Energy has undergone a dramatic transformation. The current administration inherited a department that had shifted away from its traditional focus on basic science toward a greater emphasis on applied research. The basic research serves as the backbone of scientific and technological breakthroughs. However, because those breakthroughs are often years away from commercialization, industry frequently struggles to justify funding such work. Applied research, by contrast, focuses on solving specific challenges and bridging civilization for the by realigning under panels wind power United States remain.
He's less confrontational, right? When they say, okay, well, what are we doing about the strategic oil reserve? He's like, and what about, I heard that several members here have prostitutes in their offices or what, you know, they're just crazy shit.
In recent years, it has surged. Maintaining our technological advantage over China requires expanding reliable baseload.
The Dow.
In an effort to surpass us and
that 20,000.
The CCP races to add as much power as possible to its grid, including.
Trump says stupid shit like China doesn't have any fucking windmills or solar. You know what I mean? Like just retarded shit. That's not even close to true. They have more than any other country.
Approximately 78 gigawatts in global more
DOE's non-military science and energy research, development, demonstration, and commercialization programs that you have said you care deeply about. In fact, this is the first time I've even speaking with you. I expect to engage with you far more direct, reflected on our national energy war.
Secretary Chris Wright, he's the 17th Secretary of the United States Department.
And members of the committee, it is an honor to appear. Secretary, you want to put on your mic?
Thank you. First mistake already. It is an honor to appear before you today as Secretary of Energy to discuss the President's fiscal year 2027 budget, request for the Department of Energy, and the remarkable progress we are making to advance American scientific and technological leadership. Under President Trump's leadership, we are strengthening America's scientific edge and securing our position across critical frontiers of innovation, ensuring that discovery translates directly into American economic strength, national security, and technological leadership. Throughout our history, from the Manhattan Project to the Apollo missions, America's innovators have always risen to meet the moment. Today, we are doing it again. President Trump launched the Genesis mission with one clear and urgent goal: to make the United States the undisputed leader in AI and unlock 17 investment real-world impact for the American. Trump said it not what happens when American innovators DOE history, twice the next largest solicitation. We're doubling down on.
Trump says he loves inflation because we're taking out the oil in Iran. I don't know what that means.
Leadership in quantum computing.
What do you mean? They better clip the fuck out of that when it's time to elect people, where he says he loves inflation.
Where an application.
He also has that clip where they're like, do you take into account Americans struggling financially when you're in these? No, I don't take that into account.
2 of the 2025 Nobel Prize winners in physics are associated with these quantum centers. We are driving 2 bold initiatives for orgies of energy. Yesterday,
I can't do these.
And the long-term role of natural gas in the nation's energy mix. The DOE reviewed these studies to ensure that they were scientifically sound when that happened and informed by input from the national laboratories and industry. As short as you can. Did they do so?
Well, the story's actually a little different. They produced a report and completed it in October of 2023, and it showed what they didn't want to find. It showed that exporting LNG from the United States would actually, on average, drive down global carbon dioxide emissions, and it would have no economic impact on the United States. They buried that report and never released it. They came up.
That can't be true, right? As LNG demand rises, the more we export, it can't also not affect us economically.
3 months later, saying they were going to study the issue of LNG exports and therefore put a pause. And at the very end of their administration, they released a report which was just a subset of the original scientific report that showed a couple cases where, on a very much at the margin, you could have a slight increase in greenhouse gas emissions with U.S. LNG exports. And then they said that it would raise gas prices by 30% if you looked over a 30-year time frame. So
yeah, let's not do that.
The abuse of science and facts.
And the American consumer, particularly in light.
Oh, energy prices would be significantly higher today.
These had been implemented. What effect do you believe that they would have had on energy costs for American families and businesses?
Oh, energy prices would be significantly higher today, not just in the United States, but globally.
So if we would have not exported LNG and not attacked Iran, the prices would be currently higher, you think?
Help and support our allies would be hindered dramatically, and the fastest growing export from the United States of America, liquefied natural gas, would have been dead in its tracks. On inauguration night, the Indian foreign minister said, will you be there to supply natural gas to our future? Fortunately, I can tell him, yes, we're reversing those ruinous policies. We will be there.
Thank you, and my time has expired, so we'd like to recognize the ranking member from California.
Make India great again.
Secretary, last week, the Government Accountability Office issued a legal decision about your department's spend plan for fiscal year 2025 under a year-long continuing resolution in which Congress clearly directed you to maintain the programmatic funding levels that we enacted for the previous year. GAO determined that your plan to reallocate hundreds of millions of dollars that Congress appropriated for R&D in wind, solar, hydrogen, buildings, vehicles, and other energy technologies to your own favorite industries is unambiguously illegal. GAO concluded, and this is a quote, DOE is required to obligate and expend its FY 2025 appropriations in accordance with the referenced congressional control point amounts in the FY 2024 explanatory statement. Now, if DOE implemented the FY 2025 spend plan, the department would be in clear violation of the Anti-Deficiency Act. GAO clearly states, and again, I quote,
they're trying to pull all the money that's allocated to wind and solar and renewables and throw it towards oil companies, basically. They're saying, okay, you gave us our budget, you told us what to do with it, but we actually would rather do this with it.
To the extent that DOE obligated or expended FY 2025 funds in excess of appropriated amounts, that is the FY 2024 levels described above, DOE should report an Anti-Deficiency Act violation. I'm interested in whether that occurred. The DAO says they're unable to make a final determination of whether the department actually violated the law because DOE, quote, has not provided adequate information or an explanation concerning the source of funds to enable a determination. I'm wondering if you have made your staff aware that obligating funds beyond what Congress prescribed could lead them, not just you, to incur significant civil as well as criminal penalties under Title 31, Section 1350 of the U.S. Code, which includes fines and potential imprisonment.
We are aware of the GAO report. It's been referred to OMB, and they are engaging on that issue, and there will be a dialogue back and forth to find out what the resolution of that issue will be.
I'd just like to note in April of this year, the Wall Street Journal reported that the president said, quote, I'll pardon everyone who's come within 200 feet of the Oval Office. I'm wondering whether the president has made such an offer to you or your staff in terms of the violation of the Anti-Deficiency Act.
No, I've heard no such offer, and of course we take our mission and the law and the rule of Congress quite seriously. Despite your implication that we're flippant about it and violating the law, I think that's a mischaracterization.
Secretary White, I'm concerned about decision-making at the DOE.
Trump I don't know if he just loves oil companies and their money or he legitimately hates renewables, but anything. I mean, he just shuts down projects that are almost done, just like stupid shit, right?
And
then tries to tell his followers that China doesn't do solar and China doesn't do wind, even though they're the world leader in solar and wind, because they're smart and we're dumb and we're not doing it anymore either.
Awards that undermine the competitive market and the department's own processes to ensure integrity. In late October, you announced that DOE would build 9 new supercomputers with 5 companies at the cost of $1 billion in taxpayers' money. There were no open competitions for these awards, no notice to Congress as required by the Anti-Deficiency Act, and no indication of where this funding would come from. My understanding is that the deal was inked and announced before the public servants at the Office of Science even knew about it. Can you tell us about the process for selecting these awards and how you ensure integrity in your deal making?
So we put out a solicitation for developers of advanced computing systems, data centers, and said if you're having trouble permitting them, we have a lot of land at the Department of Energy National Labs, and we want to increase our scientific computing capacity as rapidly and as cost effectively as we can. And we had overwhelming response. So what you're referring to are deals where developers will pay entirely the capital cost of building compute at our national labs. We will run and maintain those systems and get delivered to us a meaningful percentage of the total computing power developed. So in fact, I think it's quite a creative way to bring on computing power faster and at wildly lower price, so we can drive innovations to solve health challenges, to just drive energy challenges at a much faster pace and dramatically lower cost to the American people. Super proud of the effort.
All right, let's check out this. Ryan Upchurch got arrested. I think he was just there for like 15, 20 minutes, right? He turned himself in and was let go. Let's check out this real quick, then I want to show you something else on Trump.
What? Oh my Lord, what's next? Haters love hating.
Exactly.
Like I seen this thing that said he's a murderer. What?
Oh my Lord, what's next? Haters love hating.
Exactly.
Is that being with us?
He's a murderer, crazy. I need to help him.
Let's change that. Let's try this.
God, he's getting tubby, ain't he? I wanted to see if he put it in his story about him being arrested.
I get tanked. No, we got to go there on the boat. Hey, look, people. Just like, don't see.
There you go.
Is he not going to talk about it?
Some people ain't gonna have it. Right. Which I like. As long as they're not alligators on, but and he's got 3 of them he only needs. He only uses 1 of them. And he's got 3 that he only needs. And he's got 1 of them. Dude, did you hear about that chick went to jail? What the?
Simple assault, physical contact.
Can't wait for what is to come. How you feeling after getting everything back up knowing it's going to be a church solid? I'll tell you how I feel. How you stay so positive with all the negative around you. See, that's the thing. That's the misconception. Negativity is projected towards me, but it never makes it.
He's getting tubby.
That's why you see him constantly trying to project it. Like the gun and the bullet they got.
I can't stand his rambling. Let's just see if someone covered him going to jail or not. They let him turn himself in and was released the same fucking day, but I guess he's been charged with assault.
What up, what up, what up? Evening. How's it going? Can y'all see the thumbnail? The title of this. So if I spelled something wrong, it's the small techie guy's fault. Speaking of small techie guys, imagine thinking, well, listen, I don't want to spoil it yet. So if you're not seeing the mugshot there on the thumbnail, Ryan Upchurch had to turn himself in and get booked today. And I knew about this at the top of the day, but I wanted to wait until it was confirmed, until there's an actual mugshot before, I just don't want to speak on things until I know for sure. I don't want to just spread rumors and be part of the problem instead of the solution. But yeah, man. And
so Chad was part of this, and it's the little skinny guy that sets up his phones and computers and stuff that Ryan assaulted. Because they found one of Ryan's old phones, and he claims he was doing it with child porn or some shit. Something crazy. Anyways, it's Ryan's fault. Ryan's an idiot. Ryan got arrested for assaulting him, for putting hands on him, and he videotaped it and admitted to it multiple times. Chad claims that when he went to report this to the police and shit, they made him jump through a bunch of hoops. They made him go to different places, get different forms, different things. It was almost like they were trying to protect Ryan. When I seen the charges earlier, it said State of Tennessee versus Ryan Upchurch, and it said assault. Hang on one second. Yeah, it said simple assault. It said the date of the assault, the date of the occurrence, the date of the charge, offense, however you want to word it, was January 14th, which lined up with the video when he was attacking Trevor. So if you guys remember that, where he tells the cop, well, or that's why I did what I did earlier, and I got into it with him. And there'll be a plethora of evidence against this dude, because he's literally on body cam telling the cop, like, hey, yeah, you know what, I forgot. Rusty Truck is going live tonight. Let me make sure I'm not going to overlap his real quick. I'm only going to be on here for a minute to just give my opinion on this dude getting booked. Yeah, no, I got plenty of time. So yeah, this guy, and he's probably, if you look in the mugshot, He also just lost that $17.5 million jury verdict.
He's smiling. He's smug. He thinks he's tough, man. You know, he checked a little techie guy, right? And I already know there's going to be creakers like, oh, well, he was trying to defend. It was in his daughter's honor. I don't know how much. Hang on. But anyway, so if you guys remember the story, right? So let me holler at a few of y'all real quick, because I don't go live often enough to say what's up to everybody and to really show love to people. So let's start at the top, man. Take 1981 was the first one. Number one, first. You know, what up, everybody? Might have shit getting too good. I don't know if I call it good or not, allegedly. Yeah. But that's how it starts, right? You know, imagine the man who has talked for, the last 18 months about how everybody's going to prison and everybody's getting arrested. And he's busted every one of these people, single-handedly busted every one of these people. And then the only one with the mugshot is his stupid ass. Allegedly, for my entertainment purposes only. That's stupid remote. You know what? Don't even matter. I'm about to get out of here. It's hot in here. But yeah, new phone, who this? What up, brother? Yeah, so can I invite, let me ask everybody in the chat, because I want to invite Chad up here if I can. How do I do that if I'm just on this? Share screen. Yeah, because I'm in jail, and he's doing this for the greater good of the world, for the children, right? Like, I'm doing this for the children. Damn, that's like, the white's taking over, ain't it? That's not what I meant, but, you know, just seems very bright out here is what I'm saying, but it feels better. But yeah, so how is it, buddy? Jerry? Yeah.
I don't think it had his weight listed, but he's well over 200 pounds.
The failed YouTuber. Yeah, according to the local news in Nashville, that's all he is. It's just a YouTuber and not great at it. Allegedly and in opinions. But, you know, at some point we can drop this allegedly in opinion thing, because this guy is clearly showing exactly what it is. But I just think there's just, like I said, the irony in the fact that it's just chock full of irony that this guy has been on here and it's like, people are making fake up church merch, it's in pink and purple ink, and this all matters, and I turn it in the police, and then shows, listen, this is the funniest part, is you show your embarrassment live on YouTube. When you call the local police department and you're like, whatever happened with that evidence that I gave you? And they're like, it was kind of not really evidence, so we just kind of filed it in file T for trash, and we just, you know, and he's like, I can't believe it, man, please don't tell me you lost that, please don't tell me you lost that evidence. And they're like, in the nicest way, trying to tell you, like, hey, Ryan, it's not evidence, buddy, you're spying out of your fucking mind, dude. But that same guy who has, you know, speed dial, FaceTime with the local sheriff's department, and like, hey man, you know, we're in this together, and me and you both are going to get every single country rapper besides me, Jerry, locked up, and then I gotta be number one, baby. How couldn't I? I'm the only one, right? Come on, cheating town.
Age 35, he was booked on 6/9/2026 at 3:37 p.m. Simple assault, physical contact. Bond was not listed. That's basically it. It's from the Cheatham County Busted Facebook page. It doesn't have his weight on there, though.
At the end of it, your mugshot is the only one that anybody sees, man. Come on, dog. Bro, listen, that's some higher power kind of giving you, like, you know what I mean? That's a higher power, like, trying to send you a little signal, buddy. Trying to help you out a little bit, buddy. Trying to say, like, hey, man, look, you know, and I know, like I said, they're going to spin this the other way and be like, oh, nah, man, like, it's honorable, man. You didn't hear the recording got you, man? The reason that he come face-to-face with this techie guy and try to fight him was because there was a new, wow, let me back up. There was an inappropriate picture of his child on another device that he had took himself, and because how iPhone clouds work, ended up on other devices that were connected to the cloud and backed up. No, listen to me very clearly when I say this. These brain dead Creek Squad people, they're not going to want to hear that. They're going to say, nah, man, nope, not at all. Nope. Somehow Trevor, purposely for his own gain in some weird way, generated that picture out of thin air onto that phone, and it had nothing. And Ryan's correct, and everybody else was, what up, Smo? Smo, man, I don't know. You know what? I always felt like when I see you in the chat, I'm like, man, I'm slipping.
Anyways, another nemesis, fan of the show, gone down. Let's check out this. This is really interesting to me.
July 17th.
I said this back in the day when Pam Bondi and the Trump administration announced that they were going to grand juries to pressure grand juries into releasing files related to Epstein. They're like, okay, well, we may not have the Epstein file. We may not be releasing those like we said, but we'll go ask grand juries to, and knowing that a grand jury legally can't release the files around that. They can't legally. Can't do it. And I said, this is a distraction. They know those judges, those courts can't release this. And they're saying, it's not us. It's these liberal judges won't release the grand jury testimony. What? No, you remember you said you had the files on your desk and there were thousands of videos and pictures and client lists. You said the client list was on your desk right now. What are you talking about, liberal judges? That was all a distraction because they had this emergency meeting. How can we save Donald Trump? The Epstein files are bad. Listen to this.
2025, about a year ago, a chunk of Trump's top officials, who you see listed on your screen, led by the vice president, filed into the White House Situation Room without the commander-in-chief, without President Trump. They were trying to figure out how to regain control over the growing ugly narrative that the Trump administration was, at the very least, complicit in a cover-up for the crimes of now dead pedophile Jeffrey Epstein and other predators in his orbit. 10 days earlier, the Justice Department and FBI...
How do we cover this up?
Nothing to see here memo saying that their review found no client list of the powerful men to whom Epstein had allegedly trafficked girls, underage, and women. Vice President Vance reportedly told the group, this is a huge problem. And he argued that all the Epstein files should be released. The report says, quote, Vance had also floated to colleagues an extraordinary PR gambit that the White House enlists Tucker Carlson to interview Epstein's longtime girlfriend and co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, in prison. It might help the president if Maxwell was willing to state that Trump had not been part of any wrongdoing with Epstein. Spoiler alert, Tucker did not get that gig. You will note
they wanted Tucker to. So remember when Ghislaine got the sweetheart deal? That was part of their plan. The other part was to have Tucker interview her so she could tell everybody that Trump didn't do anything wrong.
However, that the goal here, as stated, seemed to be to get Trump cleared by Maxwell, who is a criminal with questionable credibility, to say the least. The task of the interview ultimately went to then Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who Trump has now nominated to be full-time Attorney General. Cut to August 13th, 2025, the Epstein scandal still raging. A similar Situation Room meeting is convened where the conversation turns to what allegations might be in those files about the president. One official reportedly raised the subject.
And again, they still haven't released millions of the files. Obviously, they knew it looked bad. Right? They weren't like, oh, no, he's clear. We don't have to worry about it. They were coming up with ways to make it look better.
Subject of a disturbing but unverified accusation against Trump that had come to light in case filings unsealed in 2023. And that included emails sent to a journalist by Epstein victim Sarah Ransom. And apologies in advance for some of the blunt language and visuals it will impart. We are going to edit some of it just because we don't need to go into all of it. You can read the New York Times story if you want more. Ransom claimed, quote, Ransom claimed that she knew a girl in Epstein's sex trafficking ring named Jen who said she had sex with Trump. Ransom also claimed that Jen had told her that Trump had a predilection for nipples, unquote. It goes on into more graphic and disturbing details. Again.
Yeah, so they just got his weight off of his driver's license. It says 35, 5'11", 165 pounds is what his actual booking says. I got it pulled up on the phone here from Cheatham County. They pulled that off his driver's license when he's fucking 16, bro.
Not corroborated allegation. The New York Times report also notes that Ransom's credibility was not uncomplicated, given that she had made another claim that she had footage of prominent men having sex with young girls in Epstein's orbit, and Ransom later retracted that claim, saying she was fearing for herself and her family if she went forward. Again, just to underline, these are all unverified allegations. Trump has not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing in any sort of court of law. He denies any wrongdoing. But Trump officials were concerned about this allegation resurfacing if the Justice Department released all the Epstein files in its searchable library, which they only did, by the way, after being compelled by Congress. Now, here's how some of the Situation Room debate went down, according to this Times report by Haberman and Swan. Quote, the vice president said he thought the president would be okay with releasing the nipple-related documents, arguing that Trump had been accused of worse.
So J.D. Vance is like, I think the nipple stuff is fine. He's done much worse than that.
I think we should put it out, he said. It would cause people to say, we're going further than we need to. Trump White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles quickly responded that the president would not, in fact, be okay with it. It was a point no one wanted to continue debating. Now,
so she's like, no. He would not be okay with that. And that was into conversation.
This story summed up the White House dilemma, as the report put it, quote, piles of accusations were impossible to disprove and equally impossible to make go away. Every door they opened led to another room, and in every room were more claims from...
Well, on your license, they just ask you. You know what I mean? Well, in Tennessee, they do, at least.
Women, unquote.
What was so interesting was that you could really see President Trump losing control of the Epstein story paragraph by paragraph as they give this internal account of the Trump team trying to deal with it.
This is wild that this is coming out and people aren't even fucking talking about it. That they literally had an emergency meeting in the Situation Room and are like, how do we keep him from looking like a giant fucking pedo?
fascinating about it is that, listen, we're living through a presidentially led backlash to Me Too, right? The president has appointed himself the chief opponent of this movement. But then what happened is it turned out that people really cared about the Epstein files. They were grossed out by the idea of young women being manipulated by the powerful and the wealthy. And part of the lasting power of Me Too is that there's a lot of empathy, especially for very young victims. And so to see the president sort of hit by, you could almost call it a backlash to the backlash, was really interesting.
Congressman, we were talking about this in the break, and you were making the point earlier on the show. A lot of what happened with Epstein-related things before the president took office for his second term was firmly in conspiracy theory world. You know, it was about a cabal, or things that touched on anti-Semitism and other very problematic areas. But then there was this bipartisan push to put these files out there, and what you saw was it's not just Republican and Democratic presidents, former presidents whose names appear. Not to say not to allege any wrongdoing on anybody's part, but also titans of industry, Bill Gates today, filmmakers. Like every corner of elite society, essentially looking the other way so they could stay part of the club. Why? Like what is wrong?
Let me read this article to you right quick. Hold on. On July 17, 2025, at around 6 o'clock in the evening, President Trump's top officials filed in the White House Situation Room, the secure bunker where classified high-stakes national security matters are discussed and decided. This is where President Barack Obama, along with Vice President Joe Biden, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, and the president's national security team watched the raid that ended with the death of Osama bin Laden in 2011. That's how serious the fucking room is. Now, however, Trump's most senior advisors had gathered without him to figure out how to gain some measure of control over a very different kind of crisis threatening to engulf the presidency, the Epstein files. 10 days earlier, the Justice Department and the FBI had jointly released a memo that bluntly stated that their review had found no client list of powerful men for whom the notorious pedophile Jeffrey Epstein allegedly procured underage girls and young women, intended to put to rest years of speculation at the end of the pressure campaign to release the material in the department's possession. The memo instead had the opposite effect, setting off a backlash that was notably loud among the MAGA base. And it was about to get worse. The Wall Street Journal, you guys remember the Wall Street Journal about this time, did a story about how close Trump was with Epstein. He claims he was going to sue them. The Wall Street Journal was preparing a damaging article about Trump's relationship with Epstein. The president's desperate attempts to kill the story had failed. His team now had to get everyone on the same page about how to counter the growing swarm of attention. They needed a gesture of transparency to appease an increasingly angry base, but also a way to convey the message that the president was sympathetic to his supporters' concerns, which itself was a problem because he clearly wasn't. Now, Trump is not interested in that at all. Remember when he's like, I just wish everybody stopped talking about it. It's a fucking hoax. The people around Trump understand the base more than Trump does. Trump doesn't give a fuck. He's already elected. He doesn't give a fuck about you. If you voted for him, if you didn't vote for him, he doesn't give a fuck. He's like, hey, let's stop talking about it. I don't care. The people around him are like, hey, let's at least try to make it look like Trump's sympathetic. Vice President J.D. Vance took a seat at the head of the table in the John F. Kennedy conference room of the Situation Room complex. This is a huge problem, he told the group. Arrayed around him were the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, the White House Counsel, David Warrington, the Press Secretary, Carolyn Leavitt, the Deputy Chief of Staff, Taylor Budowich, the Communications Director, Stephen Chung, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, the Associate Attorney General, Stanley Woodward Jr., and the Deputy Chief of Staff, James Blair. Attorney General Pam Bondi and the FBI Director, Kash Patel, joined on speakerphone. The Vice President appeared panicked to others in the room about the way the subject of Epstein was already dividing the MAGA coalition. Some senior officials had the impression that Vance had bought into the darkest theories about Epstein and a cabal of predators hidden within the country's ruling class. Wiles would tell others that the vice president had proved himself to be a major conspiracy theorist. Another top official said later that Vance had been pounding on the Epstein issue since the release of the memo. He was privately pressing the administration to release all the Epstein files, everything in the Justice Department's possession, even encouraging a congressional investigation. Vance had also floated to colleagues an extraordinary PR gambit that the White House enlist Tucker Carlson to interview Epstein's longtime girlfriend and co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell in prison. It might help the president if Maxwell was willing to state that Trump had not been part of any wrongdoing with Epstein, which we did get that, right? According to Todd Blanche interviewed her, and according to him, that's why and then she got this sweetheart deal, remember? Vance told the group he believed all the files should be released as soon as possible. He argued that Congress was going to force to release the files eventually. It was already clear that a bipartisan coalition in favor of such action was forming on Capitol Hill, and the momentum was going in one direction. If the administration got out ahead of this and released everything voluntarily, including whatever material existed about the president, it would at least get credit for transparency. The alternative was to let the story drag on for months as information dripped out, each new revelation renewing the cycle of suspicion and fury. Better to rip the bandage off and move on now. Even the unsubstantiated allegations and anecdotes about Trump should go out, Vance argued. They were going to surface regardless if the administration published them first. It would demonstrate good faith and take the oxygen out of the conspiracy theories. His arguments fell on skeptical ears, but some advisors thought it would be a good idea to have the Justice Department officials call a news conference to explain their position on the Epstein affair, going beyond the memo that precipitated the crisis. At this point in the meeting, Blair spoke up. With all due respect, he said, the communication strategy of this group got us here. I don't know what that is going to get us out. And if you're going to go in front of the press, you've got a lot of work to do. He began to ask pointed mock questions demonstrating how difficult a news conference might actually be. As the president's former defense attorney, Blanche had a unique vantage point in the discussion. He was better equipped than anyone else in the room to weigh the ideas being discussed against Trump's personal and political interests. Blanche laid out what he saw as their best option. Option one was to petition federal district courts in Florida and New York to unseal grand jury testimonies. Now, again, everybody knows they can't do that. The secret transcripts of prosecutors' presentations of witnesses and evidence in their efforts to obtain indictments in the past Epstein-related cases, as those were almost certainly to contain no significant new information, everyone agreed that this option was a good idea, and not only because a release was unlikely and it wouldn't damage the president. Under federal rules of criminal procedure, the secrecy of grand jury materials is regarded by most federal judges almost always unable to release. And the bar of any release is exceptionally high. If the courts refuse to unseal them, as Blanche predicted they would, they could shift the blame for withholding the Epstein material away from the Trump administration onto these judges. And all the better if the judges had been appointed by Democratic presidents. Blanche's suggestion would make it appear that the White House wanted the material released when it was almost certain that this would not happen before they even asked. Option two was to have the Justice Department lawyers question Maxwell and publicly release the transcripts. Did you hear that? Option two was to have the Justice Department lawyers question Ghislaine Maxwell and publicly release the transcript. That's what happened. A twist on the idea proposed earlier by Vance, Blanche offered to interview Maxwell himself. What if we got her to talk to Congress, Vance suggested. Blanche raised the possibility that Maxwell's lawyer might expect something in return for her candor. Warrington, the White House counsel, responded by laying out the available choices without advocating any of them. Maxwell could be given a pardon, he said, or she could have her sentence reduced. At that, several around the table spoke up to register their strong disapproval. Pardoning Maxwell, a trafficker of young girls, would create a huge PR problem, Chung said. He predicted that in the wake of the pardon, the Epstein accusers would be fanning out on the TV, telling their stories and ripping the administration to shreds. Blair was also adamantly opposed to the pardon. We can't offer Ghislaine Maxwell anything, he said. I don't know why we would. And B, if we give Ghislaine Maxwell any sort of break whatsoever, and then she turns around and says nice things about us, or says things about us and we give her a break, it will undermine the entire point of her saying those good things. That will feed the conspiracy theory, period. Yes, like her in this day spa you guys call prison. And sexual predators, people convicted of sexual crimes are not even allowed to do that. They had to have a special waiver made for her. If there's nothing for her to say that hurts us, we shouldn't have to offer her anything. The consensus was that calling for the release of the grand jury material was the best course of action. Wiles told the group she would discuss the matter with Trump and ask if he would send a truth social post calling for the release of the sealed grand jury documents. Just then, the Wall Street Journal article they had been trying to kill was published online. Cell phones are forbidden in the Situation Room, so a staff member brought in printed copies and the explosive report, which detailed how Trump and many others had created birthday cards and letters to be assembled by Maxwell into a special birthday book for Epstein in 2003. The birthday card attributed to Trump depicted a nude woman, hand-drawn and inscribed with an image, with an imagined dialogue between two men about a wonderful secret. The drawing was signed with what appeared to be Trump's distinctive jagged Sharpie signature in place of the woman's pubic hair. In the days before the publication, Trump, in an effort to quash the story, had called News Corp's chief executive, Robert Thompson, News Corp's owner, Rupert Murdoch, and the journal's editor-in-chief, Emma Tucker, practically shouting, the president told Tucker, who is British, that she must hate America. He told her he would file a lawsuit. But none of his bullying worked. And now, as the group sat quietly reading the full story in the Situation Room, Wiles readied a public denial for the president, which he soon posted on social media. Shortly after this, the president posted again. He was going along with the plan his advisors had hashed out in the Situation Room, though it was clear he didn't like having to do it. Based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. This scam perpetuated by Democrats should end right now. In response to a request for comment, White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson repeated Trump's claim that he was innocent in all Epstein-related matters, adding that by releasing thousands of pages of documents, cooperating with the House Oversight Committee's subpoena request, signing the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and calling for more investigations into Epstein's Democrat friends, President Trump has done more for Epstein's victims than anyone before him. What a fucking claim. It goes on. Hold on. Let me see if this is any good. As at the start of last summer, as far as outside observers could see, Trump appeared to be at the pinnacle of his power. He had just bombed nuclear sites in Iran, completed a blitz of executive orders to reshape the immigration system, and ran through Congress his signature piece of domestic legislation, the Big Beautiful Bill. He was using the levers of the government to go after his enemies, and out of fear or desperation, America's corporate titans were falling over themselves to comply. But behind the scenes, Epstein crisis paralyzing the Trump administration to a far greater extent than the public knew. In their public statements, Trump advisors were full of bravado, dismissing the crisis. In reality, it was consuming the highest ranks of the administration, as no issue had for the president's team since the Russia investigation in his first term. His aides were determined to keep their rising sense of panic out of public view. The Justice Department had struggled with just how to dispose of the Epstein matter since the beginning of Trump's second term. The issue was all-consuming for the president's political base, but also potentially compromising for the president himself in ways that the officials in the new administration didn't fully understand, and any path forward would be fraught. Some of the complexity was self-inflicted in the engine room of the MAGA movement. The Epstein files were potent fuel. Elon Musk had used his social media platform to repeatedly question why a client list had not been released. Donald Trump Jr. and J.D. Vance had invoked the Epstein files as a broader campaign message to argue that powerful people were hiding the truth from Americans. Tucker Carlson, the young conservative leader Charlie Kirk, had each insisted that the government should release the documents, and each floated the idea that there was an expansive cover-up in progress. Trump himself had been cagey on the Lex Friedman podcast in September 2024 when asked about releasing the client list. Trump responded, "I'd certainly take a look at it," adding, "I'd have no problem with it. The list probably will be made public," he said, but he sounded less enthusiastic. In private, Trump later told Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene that a release of the Epstein material could hurt some of his friends. He repeatedly insisted that he had done nothing wrong and that the whole saga was fake news designed to harm him politically. But his posture was overtaken by the growing frenzy among his supporters. Throughout 2024, Greene had made it her mission to force the release of the files, and there were so many others. The far-right influencer Laura Loomer, the conservative activist Scott Pressler, Chaya Reichik, that's libs of TikTok. But when it came to propagating the Epstein files as evidence of a deep state capable of evil, two podcasters were not to be outdone, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. Patel, a National Security Council Director for Counterterrorism and Defense Department Chief of Staff in the first Trump administration, had repeatedly claimed in podcast interviews that the government was hiding Epstein's black book or client list, and he frequently asserted that the FBI was deliberately withholding names to protect the powerful. Patel promised that a second Trump administration would release everything to restore public trust. On the Dan Bongino show, Bongino's background as a Secret Service agent had lent authority to his claims of a cover-up. What the hell are they hiding with Jeffrey Epstein? He'd asked his large audience of MAGA devotees. The release of the client list would rock the political world, he predicted. The Washington swamp was not telling the truth. And so they took office in 2025. Trump's advisors were subject to intense pressures of their own making. Attorney General Pam Bondi quickly made things much worse. First, in a Fox News interview on February 21st, she appeared to confirm the existence of the Epstein client list, something that the MAGA base had believed was sitting in the files, hidden. and hinted that it was release was imminent. Asked whether the Justice Department might release the name, she responded, "It's sitting on my desk right now to review." But many viewed what came 6 days later as an even more egregious misstep. February 27th, the White House Communications Office scheduled a lineup of cabinet officials to brief popular right-wing influencers in the Roosevelt Room. The session began with Vice President Vance, followed by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, walking the influencers through the administration's agenda. In attendance, who was a who's who of online MAGA, Mike Cernovich, Liz Wheeler, Colin Rugg, DC Drano. The president himself brought them to the Oval Office and gave them a custom-designed challenge coins as a token of his appreciation before everything went wrong. One of them would remark, "It was the best day of his life." The Attorney General and her team walked in the Roosevelt Room carrying boxes. Bondi had brought the binders as handouts for the influencers. Her aides would later tell colleagues that the FBI had prepared them with the assurance that they contained revelatory details. Someone on her staff said, "Watch this. This is cool. This is going to be epic." But as Bondi's staff started distributing the binders, the blood pressure of other officials in the room skyrocketed. They had no idea what was in the handouts. The Attorney General was distributing something she was calling the Epstein files that had not been vetted by anyone in the White House. One official, opening the binder, began flipping through the pages to see if Trump's name was mentioned anywhere. A few pages in, right in the middle of the page, there it was. Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, was at the White House that day. If the news broke the Epstein files had been released before the president was to meet with the press with the Prime Minister, that would be all the journalists would want to talk about, and Trump would be blindsided. By his own people are shooting him in the foot. One of Trump's aides hastily steered the influencers out of the White House, telling them that the content of the binders was embargoed until after the president's news conference with Starmer, but that the communications office would be more than happy to talk to them about the files afterward. As the influencers left, they snapped selfies in front of the White House, holding their binders, quickly posting the pictures on social media. They now had created a new shockwave in anticipation that for what might be in them. Like some others in the White House, Bondi had either grossly underestimated or simply been blind to the voracious appetite of the MAGA base for information about Epstein. Her binders contained information about him, his activities, flight logs, contact lists, summaries, items taken from his residence after his 2019 arrest, and other material, but nearly all of them had been previously released by the Biden administration. Bondi had somehow simultaneously oversold and trivialized the Epstein files at the same time, and now influencers were made to feel like dupes. In the Roosevelt Room, Bondi had told the influencers this was just the first tranche of files. There would be more coming, she assured them, but that story would change too. Justice Department officials were reviewing the Epstein material, but months would pass before the department or any of Trump's closest advisors knew just how many documents there were. More than 3 million pages of files released to Epstein, and potentially as many as 6 million in the early months. Officials were focused on going through a trove of what was known as the 302 forms, records FBI agent interview notes with witnesses, some of whom were victims of Epstein. These were raw records, often containing unverified information. Trump was mentioned numerous times, as were other prominent men. In June, 4 months after the circus in the Roosevelt Room with the influencers, Bondi and Blanche briefed the president on the status of the Epstein review. "We've gone through the files," Blanche told Trump. There's not a lot there. A lot of child pornography. Obviously, we can't put any of that out. There are some mentions of you, but nothing substantive. Most of Trump's advisors had rejected out of hand the idea of releasing the FBI's raw interview notes. More important, they wanted to avoid putting out anything that could damage the president. With full transparency, a non-starter, a small group of White House and Justice Department officials decided to draft a memo that would explain why the department was not releasing any further information about Epstein. But even the process of composing the memo was fraught, in part because no one wanted their names on it, and in part because of the deep concerns within the leadership of the FBI. 4 weeks, Patel and Bongino, the deputy FBI director, had grown more infuriated as they realized the scale of the mess for which they were now being blamed. They repeatedly raised alarms internally that the Epstein crisis was gathering momentum with Trump supporters. Bongino wanted to convey something definitive to the MAGA base, and he and Patel pushed for immediate release of the surveillance footage from the federal facility where Epstein was found dead in his cell. Bongino hated the Justice Department's nothing to see here memo being drawn up for the public release. He told Patel this would in no way align with their promises of transparency after taking over the FBI, and he objected to putting the FBI seal on the letterhead, but he was overruled. Patel privately shared many of Bongino's concerns, but in an internal email, July 2nd, the FBI director gave his support for the memo. Thanks for the edits, and I still believe this is the correct vehicle forward, Patel wrote, with the occasional typo to a small group of colleagues, including Blanche. I'm happy to add any additional sentences to compete the shortfall, but I do think we addressed specifically why more can't be released as it relates to a specific topic, i.e. court order CSAM, child sexual abuse material, and victim protections, etc. Bondi rarely used her Justice Department email and was not on the chain where the group worked on this memo. She was aware of both the memo and release of the prison video, but was not involved in editing the document. Inside the White House, Trump had no interest in releasing anything, and senior officials, including Wiles and Blair, were initially unconvinced about the reach of the Epstein crisis. They told colleagues that Republican voters didn't care, and they had early data from Trump's chief pollster, Tony Fabrizio, I think is how you say it, to demonstrate it. The Epstein brouhaha, in their view, was driven by fringe conspiracy theorists and amplified by noisy online influencers who didn't represent a meaningful block of voters. If the White House engaged, it would only pump it up, putting an official stamp on the matter. Wiles and Blair and others around Trump had seen him weather every storm imaginable for years, and in their view, this wasn't a storm, it was passing clouds at most. Bongino told anyone who would listen that this was a grave miscalculation. It's not an online story, he told White House advisors. You don't understand. On July 7th, the Department of Justice and the FBI released the memo. It was brief and an unsigned 1.5-page statement explaining that after exhaustive search of its databases, hard drives, and network drives, as well as physical searches of squad areas, locked cabinets, desks, closets, and other areas where responsive material may have been stored, and a corresponding review of more than 300 gigabytes of evidence, the department concluded that there was no evidence Epstein had maintained a client list. Get the fuck out of here. The memo also reaffirmed the official finding that Epstein's death in 2019 had been suicide. The memo was accompanied by the release of the video footage from the federal jail in Manhattan where Epstein died, footage that officials said supported the conclusion of suicide. And with that, the memo indicated that the Trump administration would not be releasing any further information regarding the Epstein case, and no further investigation of uncharged third parties was even warranted. Less than 5 months late, 5 months after Bondi had referred to a secret client list of high-profile predators, the case was closed, or so it seemed. If the administration expected the memo would be the last word on Epstein case, and that the president's most ardent supporters would accept the purported conclusions of the Department of Justice simply because the department and its investigative agencies were now controlled by Donald Trump, they were sorely mistaken. The memo was an earthquake, and it was received by a part of the MAGA base as an outright betrayal. It amounted to an abrupt disavowal of the sinister conspiracy theories that some of Trump's closest confidants had hyped during the Biden presidency, and that they had promised to expose once Trump was returned to power. The release of the surveillance video, which Bongino and Patel had intended as a gesture of transparency, further fueled the fire. The Department of Justice ended up releasing roughly 11 hours of prison video intended to show that nothing nefarious occurred. But the footage was missing a minute. A visible timestamp jumped from 11:58 p.m. to midnight. Bondi initially attributed this to nightly system reset. The footage was later restored and then released. To many of Trump's followers, however, this was yet more evidence of a cover-up. White House officials complained privately that they hadn't been told about the gap before the release. Social media lit up with blame, not just for Bondi, but for Patel and Bongino too. None of the three had ever experienced anger at this volume for Trump's conservative base. It was disorienting, especially for Patel and Bongino, whose power and influence had been built online. The movement that had treated them as heroes was suddenly turning on them. The two men were now tightly connected to a memo that stated in black and white that while information in the government's possession showed ample evidence of Epstein's own wrongdoing, there was no evidence of wider conspiracy. The day the memo was released, Bongino showed up to a daily Justice Department meeting with the FBI staff and the Attorney General. He was in a volcanic mood. As soon as he entered the room, he erupted at Bondi, shouting at her. "You fucked this thing up from the start," Bongino yelled. "The way you've been talking about this, that dumb fucking charade with the Epstein files, they're on my desk nonsense, all the promises to the folks out there." Patel and Bongino both subsequently told a White House official that Bondi needed to resign. 2 days later, on July 9th, the two men were summoned to a meeting with Wiles and Bondi in the Situation Complex. They were the last to enter the small wood-paneled room. Seated around the table were Bondi, Wiles, Blanche, and Taylor Budewick, one of the Wiles deputies. The moment Bongino sat down, Wiles told him that she had been informed he leaked sensitive story about Epstein and Trump to ABC News. Gotta get rid of him. I'll tell you what, Bongino replied. I'll give you $100,000 cash right now. I'm not kidding. Walk out to the West exec, put that reporter on speaker, and get him to admit I leaked it. $100,000 right now. Wiles snapped back. Well, we all got ourselves into the... Bongino cut her off. No. We didn't get ourselves in anything. I warned you guys about this the whole time. You ignored me. And exactly what I said was going to happen happened. And now you're pretending I was in on this? I was never in on this. Bongino's aggressive response to Wiles startled the others. She was the White House chief of staff, essentially a stand-in for the president. Wiles put Bongino on the spot. Going forward, she said, we're all in. We're all going to agree to move forward. Are you in or not? No, I'm not, Bongino said. This is not my plan. I'm not part of this going forward. Forget it. I'm out of here. He stormed out of the Situation Room and onto the West Executive Avenue, where he climbed in the back of Patel's armored SUV and directed the driver to take him to the FBI headquarters. Some of Bongino's close friends hoped he would resign right then as an act of protest that would have made him a MAGA martyr and only increase his following. But White House advisors intervened, urging him to stay. If he quit over the Epstein and went public, it could severely damage the president. Bongino told associates he would remain for Trump's sake and keep pushing for more Epstein information to be released. Bitch. Privately, he seethed. In conversations with confidants, he lamented what the job had cost him. Millions of dollars in podcast revenue, family time, his audience. He was getting torn apart over a strategy he had opposed from the start. The relationships at the top of the Justice Department were by now beyond dysfunctional. At another July meeting in Wiles' office, Bongino and Patel told the chief of staff they suspected that Bondi had leaked a negative story about them. Blondie fucked, they call her Blondie. Blondie fucked this whole thing up, Bongino later told a confidant, echoing Loomer's derisive nickname for the attorney general. She was the one on TV saying over and over they had all the stuff. There was never anything. We were always clear about that. But now everyone thinks we did something wrong, and I gave up everything, Bongino complained that he had given up his high-rated show and millions of dollars. And now it's all disappeared because people think we screwed something up with Epstein. Bongino paused. This is going to be President Trump's Iran-Contra affair. On July 12th, the president took to social media. You guys want me to quit reading this? Took to Truth Social to defend Bondi against criticism and urged his boys and gals to stop wasting time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody even cares about. Trump told aides he was very unhappy with some of his most influential supporters, including Kirk, Carlson, and Megyn Kelly, all of whom were publicly urging the administration to come clean. Kirk had held a Turning Point USA event the previous day that turned into an Epstein grievance fest, with one speaker after another bashing Bondi over her handling of the situation. Trump had called Kirk and scolded him over the phone. Damn. I can't gauge it. I know I'm reading. If I get on y'all's fucking nerves, tell me to move on. Nobody in Trump's orbit had a better feel for the younger part of the MAGA base than Kirk, who saw that the Epstein cover-up, as it is now viewed, was capturing attention at an alarming extent. Donald Trump Jr. and J.D. Vance, both of whom spent considerable time on X, were tapped into the same younger, hyper-online portion of the base. Were also worried. They urged the White House to change course and force the Justice Department to release more of the files. Vance made clear to colleagues that he feared losing some of the so-called low-propensity voters, the young men who were not traditional Republicans but who had voted for Trump-Vance ticket in 2024. This is an audience turned into the manosphere podcasters like Joe Rogan, and it was worrisome that the podcast hosts themselves were now rebelling. But there was one major obstacle in the path of a solution. The president himself still had no interest in any transparency. He wanted the whole Epstein issue buried and was snapping at anyone who mentioned it. His staff largely avoided the subject with him in their conversations with him, and they're forced to worry among themselves. Finally, on July 16th, in an exasperated Truth Social post, seemingly desperate to make his case in language that might resonate with his base, Trump somewhat nonsensically called for the Epstein case a hoax by Democrats and then proceeded to heap abuse on members of his party and his base, disavowing their support, calling them past supporters and weaklings who had bought into this bullshit, hook, line, and sinker. As the president was trying to redirect everyone away from Epstein on social media, members of both parties began to push the other way. Many Democrats embraced the growing Epstein scandal as a top focus in their messaging and as a weapon against Trump. They were joined by a few renegade Republicans, which added the political pressure on the president's team. Representative Thomas Massie, a Republican, and Ro Khanna, a Democrat, filed H.R. 4405, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, in the House. And although they did not yet have the votes for the bill, it would become the next battleground as the president dug in against releasing information. He makes himself look so much more guilty than if he wouldn't have been fighting it tooth and nail and calling it a hoax and telling people to shut up about it. Even if none of this behind-the-scenes stuff is true, he did most of this publicly. Word reached the White House late in July, meanwhile, that a subpoena would soon be coming from the House Oversight Committee, led by James Comer, a Republican from Kentucky. It had been pushed by committee Democrats with the help of some Republicans, and it compelled the release of the files the Justice Department had on Epstein. On the day Trump team learned about the looming subpoena, another Epstein crisis meeting was convened in the Situation Room to discuss pressure coming from Congress. It included most of the same group. Wiles and Vance, Blanche, Warrington, Patel, Bondi, Blair, Chung, Budowich, and Levitt. Blair told the group that they would try to make sure they were cooperating fully with the House subpoena, but that the priority was to release information that demonstrated Trump was not involved. Then you're not complying. You're not complying with subpoena if your goal is to make one person look innocent. Blanche gave an assessment of the Epstein material he had personally reviewed or been briefed on, including a volume of child pornography. The conversation turned to how these files should be released to the public. The idea already in the works was to put all Epstein-related material on a website. That way they could overwhelm the magosphere with far greater volumes of real information in the form of a huge database. They know their following's dumb. The website had been easy to build, and they were looking at potentially going live within a week. They had already accumulated a mountain of material that Blanche had been scrolling through, and it included piles of documents from both civil and criminal cases. They planned to release it all. Blanche could then appear on Rogan's podcast to promote the transparency from the White House. The transparency they fought tooth and nail against. I know, even I want to show that clip in a second. This guy, Trump, talking about fucking Graham Plattner while we're talking about.
The worst policy of anybody. I watched that thug. That's up in Maine. He's a thug. And they're trying to make excuses for him. I mean, he's worse than any human being that's ever run for office.
Graham Plattner is worse than any human being that's run for office. He looks at Mike Johnson and says, hey, if this guy was a Republican, we'd throw him out. It doesn't matter if we lost the majority. We'd throw him out.
I don't know him. I don't want to say bad, but I just look. I mean, nobody's ever had a record like that. And you'll have Schumer. He goes crazy over this or that, or Epstein. This guy. Why are they talking about him? He said, well, we don't know. But this guy's got a rap sheet. I've never seen anything like it. He's a thug. I know thugs. I had to deal with thugs. I built a lot of buildings. I dealt with the toughest people on earth. I dealt with worse than thugs. This guy's a thug. He's a low-level thug. And he's running to be a senator to work with Eric Schmidt. Great Eric will handle him, I think. To be with Barrasso, who the hell do we have to be with Rand? Now, Rand would be very interesting, but Rand would figure it out and he'll put him away. But this is a thug. He's a cheap, no good person. And I watch these senators on the Democrats.
I don't know if he knows, but that's only going to help Graham Plattner with his voters.
Well, we don't really know. You do know. He's as bad. I've never seen.
This is the worst guy to ever run for office, 100%.
A person like that run for office. And the guy from Texas, different. But he's terrible, too. He's terrible. He's a radical left communist. But I watched this guy this morning, and he was so bad. He was so bad. He's a bad guy, just a bad guy. He must be laughing up his sleeve when he looks at these idiots going like Schumer. Well, he's okay. He's okay. He's not okay. Can you imagine if the Republicans had him? Oh, my God. What if we had him, John? So, I really believe it.
Now, think about all the scandals they've defended from the Republican Party, including all this Epstein shit. And he's saying, if this guy was a Republican, we'd get rid of him. We wouldn't let him be elected. Even if we lost the majority.
If it meant losing the Senate, you would not let that happen.
Even if it meant losing control of the Senate, we would not let a guy like that be a Republican.
That's just a terrible thing. I mean, I watch it happening. It's unfolding. It's really history because there's never been a guy like that that's ever run for office. And at any level. I don't think at any level. And the excuses, they come up every day somebody comes forward with really proven stuff. Even his business, he's not a businessman at all. His parents supported him. The guy's a loser.
His parents supported him. The guy's a loser. Remember that $10 million small loan Trump got?
Other than that, he might be very nice. But very simply, the radical left Democrats, and I look forward to the day when I don't call them Democrats.
What about his kids? He's made, $5 billion for,
And I won't if they do their job. If they want to stop crime, if they want to lower taxes, if they want to do the common education, the good things. There's so many things we can do together. I look forward to the day that I don't call them Democrats anymore. They're Democrats.
Have you seen where, hold on, one more thing. Trump thinks he come up with the word Democrat. He's like, a lot of people don't know this. Dumb has the B in it.
I came up with a new name. I don't know if I should.
Oh, I know which one it is.
Democrats. They're dumb. They're dumb. It's D-U-M. I got rid of the B. So you're only changing one letter, right? E goes and the U comes. It's a Democrat.
You know you take up more space in people's heads than any one person on the face of this earth, right? You live rent-free.
I was talking about a guy, Hakeem Jeffries. He's a very low IQ individual. When I talked about him, I said, he's a dumb guy. He's a Democrat. And I said, oh, what a great name for this. I came up with a new name. I don't know if I should.
Oh, I know which one it is.
Democrats. Because they're dumb. They're dumb. It's D-U-M. I got rid of the B. So you're only changing one letter, right? E goes and the U comes. It's a Democrat.
You know you take up more space.
The E goes, the U comes. I come when I'm on Epstein Islands, but...
He's a dumb guy. I said, wait a minute, he's a Democrat. That's how I got the name. You take the E out, you don't use the B. A lot of people don't know dumb has a B in it, actually. You don't need it.
Who doesn't know that?
You discard the B, but you take the E out.
Yeah, he has a right to be pissed, but fuck him. He deserved to lose everything, right?
And you replace it with a U. They're dumb. They are Democrats. He's a dumb guy.
Trump's dumb as fuck. A lot of people don't know this. The B's silence. Instead of going ba-ba-ba, it goes shh. But as it turned out, the searchable website would not go live on their initial timetable, and the version of the site they originally conceived would never be released to the public. By late summer, it was plainly apparent that the president's top aides that the Epstein saga was not the same as the countless other crises they had weathered during their service to Trump. To their great surprise and growing disquiet, Trump's old tricks of deflection and denial weren't working like normal. In late July, as the Trump team had discussed in their crisis meetings, it was Blanche who interviewed Maxwell. Over 2 days, she told him she had witnessed no troubling behavior by Trump and didn't recall sending the birthday card drawn in the shape of a nude woman. Soon after, she was quietly moved to a minimum security federal prison camp in Texas. A transfer left unexplained at first, which only deepened the public outrage. Blanche said nearly 5 months later that Maxwell had faced numerous threats against her life. They were trying to protect her. As it calls, by the way, any other pedophile goes to jail, gets numerous threats against their lives, they don't go to the fucking day camp. As the calls for transparency grew louder, the top ranks of the Trump administration spent even more time in the bunker. By now, the Situation Room itself had become inseparable from this crisis, a guarded space where Trump's inner circle worked to steer the president around a scandal that would soon taint or consume careers at the highest level of business, science, and politics. On August 13th, Trump's team met again in the secure complex at 6 p.m. for 2 hours to refine the Epstein defense strategy. Again, the group involved Wiles, Bondi, Blanche, Patel, Blair, Buttigieg, Chung, Levitt. Vance phoned in from Britain. The vice president once again pushed to release as much of the Epstein files as possible, and with an eye on the public messaging, he proposed that he should be the one to appear on Rogan's influential podcast. Vance had just gotten off the phone with Rogan, and he later told others that Rogan said he wouldn't have Blanche on his show, but would take Vance. Vance argued that if he were the one to appear on Rogan's show, then only a part of the conversation would be about Epstein. The rest of the interview, he told the group, could be about the president's recently passed legislation and what it would do for working families. But a larger conversation before them was how to handle the crisis and the public relations risk for the administration. The challenge would be any embarrassing or damaging allegations about the president, even if they're unsubstantiated. If everything was publicly available on the website they had planned, it could include all kinds of potentially humiliating material. Suddenly, one of the officials of the Situation Room raised the subject of a disturbing but uncorroborated accusation against Trump that had come to light in unsealed filings from a 2015 defamation case brought by Virginia Giuffre against Maxwell, which had been settled 2 years later. The second-hand accusation alleging a specific type of sex abuse was the perfect example of something that would show up on the public website and put the spotlight back on Trump, whether it was true or not. Virginia Giuffre, who had met Epstein when she was a teenage spa attendant at Trump's club in Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, became one of the sex offender's most outspoken victims. She stated in late 2016, to her knowledge, Trump had done nothing improper. She died by suicide April 2025, 3 months after Trump returned to power. The old Virginia case included emails sent to a journalist by another Epstein victim, Sarah Ransom, who later sued Epstein and Maxwell. Epstein had also settled that case. In the emails, Ransom claimed that she knew a girl in Epstein's sex trafficking ring named Jen who had had sex with Trump. Ransom also claimed that Jen had told her that Trump had a predilection for nipples and that he had aggressively flicked and sucked hers. Ransom wrote that she had seen evidence when she shared a bathroom with Jen. They looked incredibly painful as they were red and swelling. I remember wincing when I looked at them, she wrote. Ransom credibility was not uncomplicated. She had made another claim that she had possessed video footage of prominent men having sex with young girls at Epstein's entourage. She later retracted those claims, saying she feared for herself and her family if she proceeded. But after a federal judge ordered the unsealing of some of the Virginia case files in 2023, the document that connected Trump to the claim about abused nipples was among the material that came out. It was an unconfirmed allegation and had not been made publicly, but the disclosure led some of the articles that were quickly lost in the swirl of the election year news. Some of Trump's advisors in the Situation Room had never heard of the nipple claim. Those who had seemed to have only a passing familiarity with it. Many in the room thought it was all discredited nonsense, but it might not matter. The ransom emails could get new attention if they were included in public-facing and searchable Epstein library that carried the branding of the Justice Department. An administration official had already searched for Trump-related materials on the still private test version of the website, and the nipple material was among the first items to show up. None of the credibility issues would come into consideration if a government-endorsed database gave Ransom's claim about Trump a stamp of validity. This is out there, one of the officials told the group in the Situation Room. They're going to make a huge scene of this, even though it's not true and everybody here knows it. Blanche argued that in context, the Ransom document and Ransom's disavowal of some of her other claims would make clear why the allegations related to Trump had never been pursued for prosecution. Besides, these allegations were already available online because what had been unsealed, so there was no reason to leave them off the Justice Department website. The vice president said he thought the president would be okay with releasing the nipple-related documents, arguing that the Trump had been accused of worse. I think we should just put it out there, he said. It would cause people to say we're going further than we need to. Wiles quickly responded that the president would not, in fact, be okay with it. It was a point no one wanted to continue to debate. One official would later describe it as a surreal experience to be discussing nipples in the White House Situation Room. This was, in miniature, the entire problem the White House had with the Epstein files. Piles of accusations were impossible to disprove and equally impossible to make go away. Every door they opened led to another room, and in every room were more claims from more women. For a few weeks, they thought they had found a way out. The subpoena from Comer's committee had specifically requested Justice Department documents, communications with the White House, and material from the Epstein and Maxwell criminal case files, not material from civil litigation such as ransom emails. They could comply with the letter of the subpoena, post the Justice Department materials to a stripped-down version of the planned website, and leave the rest aside. Civil cases were separate matters outside the remit of the Justice Department, and the subpoena allowed for another escape hatch. The Justice Department could withhold certain documents as long as it explained to House lawmakers what they were and why they were held back. But the strategy collapsed quickly. More Republican lawmakers would press for additional disclosures, including former Trump allies like Green and Lauren Boebert, and the Trump administration was slow to comply with even the initial limited set of documents required by the House subpoena. By mid-November, the bipartisan coalition that the Trump team had worried about since the summer finally had the votes to force the administration's hand. The Epstein Files Transparency Act passed the House and Senate in quick succession on November 19th. Trump, yielding to the inevitable, signed it into law. The new law went further than the House subpoena. It sought a broader tranche of files and contained a warning to the administration that no record shall be withheld, delayed, or redacted on the basis of embarrassment, reputational harm, political sensitivity, including to any government official, public figure, or foreign dignitary. It sought everything that Trump had spent the better part of a year trying to suppress. The legislators who passed the bill had no idea how many files they had mandated to be released within a month. The pages would end up numbering in the millions, and the president, his family, and places like his Mar-a-Lago estate would be referred to more than 38,000 times, according to New York Times analysis. The Trump Justice Department said there was no client list, but the entire episode was another flashing light in an era when belief in the American system of justice had corroded to the point of collapse. Raw witness accounts and evidence from incomplete criminal investigations were never meant to be seen by the public. There were long-standing systems in place to protect both the accused and the accuser. The files amounted to a public dump of Justice Department document that mentioned Epstein's name, no matter whether the information was confirmed as accurate or not. The release page did name The released pages did name many powerful men. Among them was Epstein's former close friend, now the President of the United States. In January 2020 email, a federal prosecutor told a colleague that Trump had flown on Epstein's private jet far more than anyone knew. Flight records in the files showed at least 8 trips between 93 and 96, sometimes with his second wife, Marla Maples, sometimes with his children. In January 2024, Trump declared that he had never even been on the plane. What else remained undisclosed? The question would only sharpen as people combed through what was redacted or missing. The Justice Department, after more than 3.5 million documents were made public, said no others needed to be released. Trump characteristically was creating his own reality. He had long claimed that everyone else was corrupt, especially his critics. These files, he would say, despite the avalanche of references to himself, were the proof. There were a lot of questions about it, he told reporters at the White House February 26, but nothing on me. Trump had declared Epstein a dead issue during the summer, but as he began the second year of his presidency, his own team could see that voter concerns about Epstein were still breaking through to an alarming extent. An internal memo circulated to roughly a dozen Trump advisors in late March 2026, the president's pollster, Fabrizio, summarized findings from 2 nights of focus groups conducted that month. Fabrizio's memo listed the Epstein files as the 6th most important issue raised in the focus groups behind inflation, the economy, foreign policy, immigration, and healthcare, but ahead of data centers, military issues, crime and safety, and being pro-working class. In the section on key takeaways on the focus group, Fabrizio's memo stated, there's also consistent mention of the Epstein files, which came up in every group and is a real negative issue with some of these voters. The Epstein crisis had exposed something that some of Trump's closest advisors spent months refusing to see. The president could break institutions, redirect the federal government against his enemies, and bring the world's richest men in the Oval Office bearing tributes and bribes. But he could not, it turned out, make Jeffrey Epstein disappear. That was pretty good. Who leaked all this? I think probably multiple people. Maybe fucking J.D. Vance, dude. I think J.D. Vance is kind of like knows this is. I don't think he's as blind a Trump follower as he pretends to be. I think he knows Trump is his meal ticket. That he needs Trump. That he needs Trump's endorsement. But I also think he knows he could take over if there's a 25th Amendment and shit, right? He knows that for sure. What do you think? That Lego story's wild, dude. Here's an update to it. I don't know if you guys know about the Legos or bricks and minifigs and shit.
The Lego cartel is silencing Ben by not allowing him to post part 3 of his series.
Episode 3 is finally finished, but I can't post it or I will go to jail. And not only that, I will also immediately lose my lawsuit of $300,000, and the GoFundMe we made for Brian will go straight to this mystery company that I'm no longer allowed to talk about.
He's referring to Bricks and Minifigs filing a temporary restraining order against him and Brian Mansell, silencing them. The reasoning is that Bricks and Minifigs has faced irreputable damage to their business, calling Ben's video defamation. I find this absurd because Bricks and Minifigs at this point has essentially come clean to what Ben's accused them of. He accused them of stealing Brian's Lego collection, holding on to it, and selling it without paying him out. In Bricks and Minifigs' own statement, they claim that the previous franchise owner kept separate books and sold over $52,000 worth of Brian's Legos. It's been confirmed in so many ways that the store still has his Lego, and in that time almost certainly has sold some of it, and Brian has received none of that profit. So if you're admitting to it, how is it defamation? They're calling it extortion and pretty much explicitly say they're afraid of his content. They are panicking like this because
Epstein and Trump are guilty.
Their sales are reportedly down.
Dude, if what they've released, if their whole strategy the whole time was to protect Trump, and what they've released is that bad, the shit they're holding on to has to fucking destroy him.
across the country.
The scandal has impacted stores nationwide, with many reporting a dip in sales as a direct result.
They're trying to hold Ben accountable for exposing their evil action. They're citing extortion, harassment,
I didn't realize it's almost 2 a.m. I gotta go soon, guys.
which is interesting because most of these instances is Ben just trying to serve Josh, or Ben going back to the store because Josh told him to.
Run me over, I'm good.
By the way, the cops are in on this. The Bricks and Minifig guys that no longer work there, the store takeover people, the CEO, his brother, all of them are in on this. They're all like super Mormon too.
Amanda over, right? Apologize to Amanda.
Okay.
I'm not gonna screw you. You have my word.
You give me permission to go into the store to apologize to her? To make peace?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just confused on why they would need a restraining order over anything Ben did. The worst thing I saw is that he hung up a sign on the store building twice. One of the times was when it was already shut down. If you just read through the restraining order just a little bit farther, it becomes very clear that they aren't afraid for their physical well-being. They're afraid of Ben's video coming out. They are requesting that Ben, his affiliates, friends, anyone working with him directly or indirectly, must immediately stop making death or bomb threats, which Ben has recorded every interaction he's had.
So it seems like what they're doing, Ben records everything because he knew these people were doing shady, trying to get him arrested, blah, blah, blah. They had the police pull him over, claiming he had heroin in his car, and search the car for 3 hours. For 3 fucking hours, they ripped their car apart, and then told them, "We don't play around up here. We do it different. You might want to think you could end up in jail for the rest of your life. It's not like maybe you should just go home. This is different than California. We're different here." So they've had people in their company, I think, their friends and people within the company making threats and then claiming, "I'm Ben, the YouTuber." Why would he need to make a bomb threat? You know what I mean? Like, he's got all these other avenues. He's got court cases he's already won. He's got new court cases coming up, suing them, trying to get the money back. He's got all this public pressure. Why would he need to make a bomb threat?
Had with Bricks and Minifigs. Why would he do that? Who believes this? And conveniently, this is what part 3 in Ben's series is supposed to debunk.
Eamon said I was going to burn down the Bricks and Minifigs building and shoot everyone inside, so I got a extra extortion charge for that one. This Bricks and Minifigs company is nonstop been making fake bomb threats, fake fire threats, fake murder threats in my name that I'm going to murder them. The only problem is, obviously, these are all fake threats. I would never do something like that.
I believe him because it would compromise everything he's been doing. On top of that, Josh has been documented multiple times making false accusations to the police. He falsely accused Ben of stealing the Lego because Ben was pressing him about it.
Fuck you, man. You stole them, bitch.
I stole the Legos?
Yeah, you're a fucking thief.
Dang.
Okay. You can shut the fuck up. That's your fucking choice.
He's so angry he's out of breath. Then Ben's Airbnb gets raided.
Don't move like that. You understand me? Don't move like that.
And the warrant says it's for stolen Lego. When Ben and his friends are in police custody, body cam footage shows Josh calling.
They claim that the Airbnb they were staying in while they were doing this work, trying to get these Legos back, the Airbnb owner overheard them potentially talking about stolen Legos. So the Airbnb owner called the cops. And the cops' instructions were, they're going to be trying to record, turn off everybody's cameras, don't let them record. That was their pre-raid instructions. I think that the CEO got a hold of the Airbnb owner and said, "Hey, blah, 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 here's some money. Call the cops."
The cops saying they're doing a good job.
How many did you get? You got family?
It's like this older guy whose dad is dying in the hospital, needs medical treatment, and a YouTuber versus corporate. A big Mormon-controlled corporation.
5 right now. Including Ben Schneider? Yeah. Sweet. That's good.
I love you. I love you. Oh, there we go. I love you. Look at those fucking feet. God, you should get those fucking toenails done. Jesus Christ. I'm a foot guy, but I'm not a Josh foot guy.
This man has already been caught making false accusations to the police. I completely believe Ben when he says they've been doing it the whole time.
The police think that these are real threats, so now the police from Los Angeles, from Utah, they're all working together now to catch me.
There's leaked body cam footage of the cops talking about it.
So he called me and he's just like, "This guy's crazy. He's like making threats against us, my employees, our business, etc., etc."
Ironically, the only person who threatened violence in this case was Josh, and the police took his side.
Joshua Johnson contacted police and reported he was going to shoot someone.
One of the dispatchers made a note here saying that you were going to shoot someone.
I'm done with this. Officer, can you please help me and my family and make this stop?
So the video that's supposed to prove this narrative wrong can't come out until the temporary restraining order is lifted. Ben can't even name the company anymore.
Yeah, so basically CoffeeZilla went through everything, the database, blah, blah, blah. So this started out as the $200,000 Lego set. To be fair, it's probably actually worth around $100,000 total. Some of it's already been sold. Some of it has already been paid out. It seems like, honestly, this company is ruining their entire reputation. They're ruining potential customers. They're suing Ben and this guy who's trying to sell his dad's Lego, his sick, dying dad's Lego collection for $1.3 million, right? $1.3 million. There's the corporation suing the little guy in court and got this fucking restraining order in place. And it's probably at max, they owe the guy like $60K. like $60,000, which is a lot of money, but not for Bricks and Minifig, the corporation, right? Even if it was the full 200, even if they said, look, we admit no faults. We're not going to say we stole your stuff. We're not going to say this. We're not going to say this. But you're saying it's worth $200K. We know you already sold some of them. We'll pay the $200K. Boom, done. Like, it would still be better than all this bad press and shit. And Ben, in his first video, went and talked to the CEO, and he's like, look, man, I'd like to do this the easy way. I'd like to either get the Legos back or get paid for them. He's like, we don't have your Legos. Nope, never had them. Our lawyers looked at this. We're not going to do it. We'll fight you in court. Take us to court. We'll drag it out, blah, blah, blah. And Ben's like, well, the easy way is to pay this out. There's a much harder way that I don't want to do. I would rather do the easy way. You know, and the guy's like, nope, you do what you got to do. But yeah, CoffeeZilla basically went through all the data, and it seems like on the high end, maybe they still owe this guy and his dad. His dad doesn't know the collection's been sold. His dad's been in the hospital for the last year or something, undergoing, like, he's life-threatening medical emergency and getting treatment and shit. So the son's doing it secretly, selling these things. Didn't want the dad to know, to pay for medical treatments and to empty out the house and shit. But yeah, on the high end, maybe like $60,000 to make everybody even.
Now that I'm officially served, I cannot even mention this company, or I will.
But how much are they going to spend on a lawyer suing this YouTuber and the guy who technically owns the Lego sets for $1.3 million? When they could just write, even if, like I said, even if they said, look, we're going to take CoffeeZilla and went through every sale, every receipt. He reviewed this. He looked at the sets that had been sold, the sets that still supposedly remained. They weren't there. We can't find the sets. We're not saying that, you know, the last people stole them or you stole it. We're not saying anybody stole them. We're just saying we can't find the sets. Even though CoffeeZilla, we accept he thinks we only owe you $40,000 to $60,000. We're going to pay you $200K right now. Take care of your dad. This is a goodwill gesture. Take it and go, and we'll get the videos deleted or whatever it takes, whatever little agreement. Boom. That's all the good grace that they need in the eyes of the public. They made everything right. They fixed everything. They didn't torture this guy. They didn't drag it out. They didn't go to court. They didn't do gag orders. They weren't trying to silence YouTubers. Like, none of this is worth it.
Everything.
I really hope that Ben got this video approved by his lawyer before posting it. The restraining order also prevents Ben from posting or publishing any contact information, docs information of any of the Bricks and Minifix franchises or employees. He can't film or go within 1,000 yards of any franchise location. He can't hang any signs like he did in his first video or interfere with customers. He can't send any of his undercover agents, do another raffle, or post anything. And this will remain in effect until his preliminary injunction hearing on June 30th. Now, to be clear, what I'm reading was proposed, but it seems like this was either approved or something very similar was sent to Ben. Ben said he's thought about ignoring the court orders. That would not be smart.
Normally I would be like, screw the big guy telling me what to do. I'm going to do what's morally right. But in this situation, if I do that, then all my friends get screwed with this lawsuit, and we lose all the GoFundMe money we raised.
Bricks and Minifix is doing everything in their power to keep him silent and protect their brand's reputation.
They've raised $500,000 in GoFundMe.
To me, it looks like the company is lashing out legally because they don't like
and Ben's going to give the money. Well, he's going to use the money for defense, but he's also going to pay back the guy who lost his Lego set, right? The money he's owed. But that doesn't mean we should just let the company off the hook. So Ben proposed taking the GoFundMe money and paying the guy for the Lego sets that are missing. So now Ben is technically the owner, and it's Ben versus the company, and the guy can just be gone and help his dad and be done with it.
Ben called them out, and now they're just trying to make it a lose-lose for everybody involved.
The court just heard their perspective, not mine. So because I wasn't able to share my side, I'm now no longer allowed to talk about them, and looks like this might be it.
How depressing. Now, I love Ben, I love his content, but like most of us, he's not legally illiterate. I just wish he ran his stunts by a lawyer before he executed them. He'd be in a lot safer position legally.
He does.
He called the police saying that I went inside the company and said that I was going to burn the whole place down and shoot everyone inside if he didn't give the Legos back. And now I'm facing a second-degree felony or Class B felony.
He does run this by a lawyer.
And 20 years in jail for that statement.
For you, absolutely, for sure, never made.
Well, I sent the police the whole raw footage.
Yeah.
And they're still sending me to court. Even after they watch the whole footage of me not making that claim.
You need a lawyer, bro. You never had a lawyer throughout all this, because the whole time I was thinking, like, this guy needs a
Yeah, no, I sent the police the raw footage of the whole conversation.
They don't give a, you need a good-ass lawyer.
Like the police don't care about the evidence, and they just side with the Mormons, yeah.
Yeah, they probably didn't even look at it. And by the way, moving forward, making these videos, you need a lawyer.
Yeah, probably.
Because some of the charges Ben's facing might actually stick.
And according to sources,
I think in in a couple of the things he did in the video, he talked about speaking to a lawyer to making sure he was safe doing it before he did it.
He's looking for an attorney, but he still hasn't got one.
So the problem with having a lawyer all the time, if you want to make these videos like he makes, is he does these stunts that I can guarantee you no lawyer would say this is a good idea, right? But it might not technically be illegal either, right? most lawyers err on heavily on the side of caution. Like, there's no way I would do that.
I'm like, bro, why are you not getting an attorney?
That is not good. Now I get why you didn't talk to a lawyer. He's not rich. A lot of his videos are demonetized or copyright claimed.
Didn't have nearly enough money for a lawyer. Basically, my entire YouTube career has just been demonetized.
Because he uses a lot of copyrighted music.
I've only ever been able to afford like rent and basic food, and like that's it, pretty much. So getting a lawyer for this video was not really an option.
But that decision to not speak to a lawyer might come back to hurt him pretty hard. Don't lose hope on Part 3 release. This is a temporary restraining order. Now, this is a bit infuriating because I think most of us agree that Ben is clearly in the right when it comes to this situation. And because this $100 million company is run by a bunch of spiteful dickheads, they'd rather sink their reputation going after a YouTuber than pay.
The CEO literally, hold on. The CEO, Bricks and Mini. By the way, they have no affiliation with Lego other than they resell Lego, basically. The CEO literally has like a old-time Western fucking evil guy mustache that he twirls. Like, I'm not even making this up. He has an hold on. Look at this evil motherfucker. Look at that. How do you look more like a villain? Ben made a company up that looks a lot like the Bricks and Minifig company, but instead he named it We Steal From Old People.
$200,000 to an old man.
Now, all they have to do is just give these fucking Legos back. CEO, Mr. Oh, he's cyberstalking. No, one of your franchisees.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Because they want to keep this $200,000 set of Legos. And it's so well documented that they have.
CoffeeZilla found out that one thing they were lying about. So basically what happened was there was a consignment to this one Bricks and Minifig and a lady that ran it. She agreed that she would hold the sets, sell the sets, keep, 10, 15%, give the rest to the guy that owned them. The guy owned them the whole time, even when they were in their store under the contract. He still owned them and could come pick them up at any time, okay? That's all a thing. Corporate, for some reason, they claim that they heard about drug use and not paying bill, blah, blah, blah. Corporate sends another two guys that own a different franchise up there to kick the lady he had the agreement with out of her store and do basically like a hostile takeover. Like, hey, you're done. Leave. We're locking the door. This is our store now. You're no longer allowed to run the franchise. Now, when that happened is when all the Legos allegedly went missing. The previous franchisee is saying, hey, they were all there. They were in the safe. She even says on the security cam footage, like, look, I've got this guy that's got a ton of stuff here on consignment. And if I don't, how am I supposed to pay him? And the Bricks and Minifig CEO on the phone says, that's a business deal. Whatever you've agreed to on consignment, Josh will now take over, which is the new franchisee. But anyways, you want to hear something sketchy as fuck? The guy that showed up that day to kick her out of her store, the franchisee, drove a U-Haul truck to the store. Now, Bricks and Minifigs denied that. Nope, no, he didn't. He drove a rental car. He flew there and drove a rental car. He flew there and drove a rental car. CoffeeZilla found a picture of on the security camera of the U-Haul parked in the fucking parking lot that night in front of the store. And they've denied it. Nope, no U-Haul, no U-Haul, no U-Haul. That was a lie. No U-Haul, no U-Haul. So now he confronts them with this information and says, here's a U-Haul from the security cam footage of that night of them being kicked out of the store. Why does he have a U-Haul truck here? They said, oh, we actually talked to him about that. What happened is a couple weeks before that, because there was an employee from the other franchisers, the new franchise people from their other store that said, hey, he brought a U-Haul in here with a bunch of Lego sets and shit. We unloaded it about the same time this is all going on. But anyways, so Bricks and Minifig CEO says, oh, we talked to him about the U-Haul truck. What happened was a few weeks earlier, he needed a U-Haul to go pick up a different Star Wars collection. And that's where his employee is thinking that there was this Star Wars collection. It's a different one a few weeks earlier. Then, the night that he went over there to take over the store, he was going to be working in that store because he's taking over that franchise. So he needed to move his camper up to that area to live in. while he ran the store. And he was going to hook up his pickup truck, which he owns and pulls the camper with. But he was thinking about it and thought, you know what? My pickup truck that I own, that I always pull my camper with, is actually not rated with enough weight rating to pull this camper now. Even though I've always pulled the camper with this truck. This truck's no longer good enough. So he was thinking and thought, oh, I just rented a U-Haul a couple weeks ago. I could go rent a U-Haul box truck, not a pickup truck, not an F-350, not a flatbed. I could rent a full-size U-Haul box truck, and I'll just use that to pull my camper. And I'll drop my camper off before I go to the store, and then it's just going to look like I showed up at the store with a U-Haul truck, which I did. But then we lied about for the last several months until you found a picture of me in the parking lot with a U-Haul truck, and then I'm telling you this story now. Get the fuck out of here, dude. That did not happen.
Have them. Get them back. Get some socks. How much you pay your franchisees anyway? I mean, not enough to get them socks and shoes?
I normally shout out my Patreon at the end of the video, but I think you guys should go check out Ben's. If you want to support me, just check out my last video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I will continue to cover the story as it develops.
There you go, guys. All right, over the next couple of days, I'm going to be fixing my water leak, working on the campground stuff. I should have some short form content if you're into that shit on TikTok and on this YouTube channel. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I got to go. I didn't realize there's already, it's 2 o'clock now. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Support the show. There's a link to support the show, the Just Quick Tools link, where you can donate, do your thing. I've got a house payment now. I finally made my first house payment, so I got to keep streaming, keep paying the bills. Thank you all for the continued support and showing up and being here, watching and listening to me complain. I know the show's been kind of hectic and all over the place, but we'll get back on track and hopefully get the schedule fixed a little bit better. I've been waking up a lot earlier. I like 7, 8 in the morning, getting showered and trying to put in a full day's work. But hopefully that'll mean that I can start the show earlier, finish a little bit earlier, and keep the schedule going. So either way, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Consider supporting the show. There's a bunch of ways that you can donate. All that goes directly into the show and the bills I have so I can continue doing the show. The show doesn't have to make a ton of money, but it can't lose money, and I got a house payment to add to that too. So thank you guys. I'm incredibly lucky to be able to do this, make money doing it, and thank you for your support. I appreciate it. You'll never hear me take that for granted. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you around the next one. Have a good night. Love you. See you. Bye. Also, we're going to start doing home repair stuff on my Shorts channel. If I can get that to kind of take off, I think I'm going to start going to people's places and doing home repair for them for free. Like if they can provide the materials or whatever, or maybe if I get enough views, that'll provide the materials. There's a guy I follow that does this, like builds neighbor fences and patios and stuff. I would like to get an insurance policy so I don't get my fucking ass suit off, right? And then go around and do some of that type of content, hopefully paid for, or at least that it supports itself. You know what I mean? We'll see. Got to make the content first. Legend, I'm looking at you. Your old ass house. We're coming to fix it one day.
Particular show, you don't have the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet by name.
Have Hammer will travel.
They are, and telling the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
Legend's got a torture basement.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best.
My basement's scary. Legends is like a Saw movie.
Cause you ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit. And
I do think that'd be cool if we could help people out, whether they can pay for the materials or maybe if it has enough views, it'll pay for the materials. Fuck. And pay my travel and to go out and fucking work and make content from it. Hell, I'll employ Mariah as a cameraman or fucking hire a cameraman if I can get it going.
Strapped to the shaft, eating this chip.
I want to do something that gives back too. And I've thought about maybe fixing up vehicles and giving them away or something. I want to make content. I want to give back, and it needs to support itself because I'm not wealthy.
On his desk, a retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers, cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best. best. You know that's
I could do like most of the YouTubers and sell merch to enter to win a fucking car or some shit like a Lambo, and then just keep giving it to my friends, getting it back, and returning it to the rental place or wherever the fuck I got it from or whatever.
you better buckle up, cause you ain't seen.
I swear they got to be doing that. Some of these channels are so fucking small. How the fuck are you giving away a fucking fully loaded truck and a camper and a skid steer, like $200,000 worth of shit every month, every 30 fucking days? How are you giving away a $500,000 supercar every 30 days?
Put on a light, hold a baby.
You get like 5,000 views a video. You've got to be, it's got to be a scam.
Whoa.
You're selling a lot of merch.
What? I'll get my files. Wait,
Anyways, I don't know. Rant over.